Trump Doge effort to make federal spending cuts.
We're told that Tesla, still sitting there, the red Tesla with Florida tags, is either going to be given away or sold off. And we are told that it was about a month that Elon Musk was wearing thin on Trump. So this was not a sudden exit and then blow up.
The day after President Trump's call with China's leader trying to end a trade war filled with high tariffs, counselor to the president, Peter Navarro, just told Fox Business.
There was a clear mandate between and understanding between the two presidents.
So he says a U.S.-China meeting will happen within the next week. It's been 3 weeks now since that big jailbreak in New Orleans, and 2 of the 10 who escaped are still on the run. Antoine Massey and Derek Groves. He's a convicted murderer. So is Grant Hardin, and he's also still a fugitive, 12 days after the former police chief broke out of an Arkansas prison. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Don't ever count them out. Partly cloudy, currently 68 in downtown Indianapolis. We may reach 80 for a high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:02. Well, they did it again.
Halliburton has it with 3, driving with 2, pulling up, and hitting with 0.3 of a second to go. How many more times can this team do that?
Mark Boyle with the call on the Elevance Health Radio Network as Tyrese Halliburton hitting that last-second shot to give the Indiana Pacers a memorable 111-110 win over the Oklahoma City Thunder to steal Game 1 of the NBA Finals. It was the only time the Pacers led the game.
You know, they went up 15. We just said, hey, let's just keep chipping away at the rock. Just chip away and hang in. And we've had a lot of experience in these kinds of games.
Right, head coach Rick Carlisle there. The Pacers picking up the win despite having 24 turnovers. Indiana takes a 1-0 lead now into Game 2 in OKC on Sunday. Attempted burglary and resisting law enforcement. That's what Javonte Williams was convicted of this week, says Johnson County Prosecutor Lance Hamner.
He got the 3 years and then a year on the resisting law enforcement. Those were run concurrently, so he'll be spending 3 years in prison.
Phillips also has pending cases in Marion County. Hamner says the sentence he's already received will go on top of any sentence he might get in those cases. An Evansville man is facing multiple felony charges relating to child pornography and soliciting minors for sexual acts. Deputies with the Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Office say 42-year-old Christopher William Evans was taken into custody at his home Thursday following a months-long investigation. Also in Evansville, a man has been missing for over a month. According to a release from the Evansville Police Department, 32-year-old Devin Pickrell has been missing since April 19th. Pickrell is described as a white male standing 6'2" and 150 pounds. Average gas price today at $3.03 a gallon statewide, according to Gas Buddy. And Indianapolis gas prices are averaging at $2.94 a gallon. And 3 officers with the Fort Wayne Police Department able to rescue dogs from a dangerous building fire this week. The officers saved the animals from a dog kennel that they saw had caught on fire. The FWPD commended the officers for their courageous actions in saving the dogs. Now traffic on the 5s. Good morning, Matt Bear.
What's happening, Jared? Looking at northbound 65 south side. Crash clear after South Keystone Avenue. Traffic is still delayed from South Fort Road up to 465, but this front of the line of the delay started to clear out, so it's getting better. Southbound 6570 a little bit slow. Washington Street into the south split because of construction. Traffic sponsored by B Window. At B Window, let me tell you, B Window is right now extending their employee discount to you. Get 55% off all products and services, plus 18 months, no interest or payments. Trust a local, trust employee owned, trust your home to bwindow.com. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Technology Recyclers is the safe and ethical choice for your computer and electronics recycling. R2 certified, 100% landfill free, guaranteed destruction of data, and absolutely free pickups. Visit tech-recyclers.com.
Trust employee owned. B Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to B.
Now the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Patchy morning fog, partly cloudy, turning to showers and storms this afternoon, a high of 79. Rain chances for the evening, partly cloudy overnight, a low of 63. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8's Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
And I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Wow.
What a day!
We got a ton of stuff to get to today. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get to all of it. Okay, so let's review what we got to get to today. We got the Musk-Trump stuff. Which
feud.
is fascinating.
Yes.
We've got Jim Lucas basically doing Excuse-a-Palooza over Mike Bohacek.
I think he called you a shock jock.
You were always on my mind.
Rent free, baby.
You were always on my. Anyway, we got to play that because it's a great insight into the elitist, entitled attitude that these lawmakers have. We've got to briefly talk about something we're going to do Monday, which, as bad as the Bohacek story is, I broke yesterday. I am in possession of documents that could be a much bigger story related to a lawmaker and an OWI that he has been able to evade public scrutiny for many, many years over this. And the way that happened is very fascinating and very interesting, if indeed this is as the evidence appears, which you are privy to the evidence. It appears pretty overwhelming, does it not? And so we'll talk a little bit about that and what could be coming Monday. We're still dotting a few I's and crossing a few T's. And then, of course, we got Stephen Whitmer from the Indy Reporter is going to be with us. He's got all sorts of stuff on the Hogsett investigators. There's new stuff on Hogsett now.
Right, new stuff there.
And Mickey Inappropriateson that he was with one of these women, according to Indy Star. And then you got the maybe biggest story of all, just the Pacers won last night.
The Pacers, right. Nail-biting Game 1, NBA Finals. Indiana Pacers edge out the Oklahoma City Thunder. How about that last-second shot?
Did you make it to the end?
What the hell? Are you kidding me?
Did you go to bed?
No, I was up for the whole thing,
no,
Rob
I know.
Kendall.
I heard you were at the casino for the Hammer and Nigel remote yesterday.
Yep.
And
won $280, by the way.
You won $280.
Won $280.
Like you walked out with two. Now is this because gamblers will do this? We're like, I won $280, and then they don't tell you I lost $1,000. You walked out with $280.
I walked out $280 plus.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
On the slots or the blackjack?
It was the slots. I hit a nice one.
You won at the slots?
Just like Therese Halliburton.
That's right. You did.
He hit a nice one, too.
So we are 125-1 was the bet that I placed on the Pacers shortly before the All-Star. 3 wins to go. It is like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen, because think about how long the Reggie Miller stuff, whether it was the fourth quarter in, what was that, 93-94 with the choke sign to Spike Lee at the end, and then 94-95 was all the 8 points in 9 seconds. Like, that stuff has lived in lore for 30 years. And in one season, Tyrese Halliburton has eclipsed that multiple times, the heroics. You could make a compelling case that was the biggest shot last night in the storied franchise of the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely proved that he is the clutch player. I know at one point, the dude and I were talking, and I had been on the phone for a little bit. And so then I rejoined with him, and I said, hey, what's the score of the game? And he said, no, they're down by 14. This game's over. And I was like, no, well, really, what's the score? What's the score? And then I got in front of the TV, and okay, yeah, they were down. And then him and I started talking, and occasional glances at the TV. And then at one point, he looks at me and goes, oh, my gosh, they're only down by 4. And that's when we glued ourselves in front of the TV.
You know,
and stayed till that very end.
I was listening to the fan morning guys coming in, and Kevin Bowen, I think it was Kevin Bowen, said this. And he was right. I felt the same way. They were down 9, and then they hit a 3. And then Neesmith hits a three from the corner at one point with like a minute and a half to go or something. I forget what the exact time was. That three went in. I said, they're going to win this game.
Yeah.
Like when that three went
you
in.
You knew the momentum shifted.
And then it was either, I can't remember if I got the order right or not. Neesmith hits a three, and then Nemhard hits a isolation three where he's crossover dribbling. And it was like, they're going to win this game. And even when that loose ball challenge didn't go their way, it was like, they're going to just find a way to pull this out. And they did. And it is just, it's not only that they're winning, it's the memorable ways in which they're winning games. And it's just absolutely incredible.
I know. They just continue to defy expectations as underdogs. And I mean, we're witnessing real life Hoosiers, right?
And you know, as a Central Indiana lifer, you think about there has really only been one world championship of the league, which was the Colts in, was that 06, 07, when they won. That's really all this city has had. Now, the Indians have won things, but in terms of the fever, I'm not trying to dismiss, but let's face it, I'm sorry, you know, a WNBA championship, while nice and it's great for the league, that is not anywhere we're talking the National Football League or the National Basketball Association. This is uncharted territory for us because we have only been to one NBA conference final. League final. We have only been to 2 Super Bowls, and we've only won one of them. And you see it within your grasp, and it's almost like it's a good thing that it's uncharted territory because the players don't even know to be nervous. It's like they don't. How can you be that good at the end every single time? It's unbelievable.
Were you nervous? Like, did you feel confident? It was like he had that ball and he was dribbling down and you knew he only had that one shot. And he wasn't even squared up nicely. But man, it still went in.
Casey, I have a 125-1 bet out there. I'm nervous on the tip to start the game. You want to get me on your side, have a giant pot of cash at the end of the rainbow. I am the world's biggest fan, baby.
All right, well, let's review. This is what it sounded like.
Gildas Alexander spins, pulls up, jumper. Off the mark, won't go. Rebound, Neesmith. Pacers with a chance to win it. Final seconds, no fouls to give. Halliburton looking. Halliburton driving, pulls up, jump shot. It's good! It's good! With 0.3 of a second remaining. Timeout, OKC. Tyrese Halliburton does it again.
So good. Mr. Clutch.
Okay. We got to take. Why don't we take a break? We got it because I want to have some time. We got to get this Musk-Trump thing. It's fascinating. I'm fascinated to know whose team you're on with this.
Okay.
I'm very excited to see whose team you're on with this.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Life moves fast.
We move fast.
Get moving fast.
It's not business as usual.
So does the news.
I could be a stupid person to say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane.
Decisions made today.
The United States and China announcing a 90-day pause.
Could impact you tomorrow.
Goldman Sachs adjusting its 2025 economic outlook.
The issues, some solutions.
What's next?
I'll let you know at the appropriate time. Got to stay tuned.
We're already tracking it.
Strong borders.
Stay in the know while you're on the go on 93 WIBC.
Man, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
Hi, it's Steve Ryan Hayes here from the Retirement Money Matters Show. Millions of people are moving money into tax-free Roth IRAs to get their retirement plan as tax efficient as possible. Should you do this as well? Well, just as you've always been taught to look both ways before crossing a road, you need to evaluate all factors before moving money into a Roth IRA. Join me this weekend as we educate you on all the factors to consider before making this move. The Retirement Money Matters Show airs this Saturday morning at 6 a.m. right here on WIBC.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's. 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 Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling? We'll find that independent American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Okay. So we got to talk about this Trump-Musk thing. But before we do that, Landon, who has filled in fabulously this week for Kevin, says he has an incredible clip of the Korean language broadcast of the end of the Pacers game last night.
I told him, I said, grab some audio of the Pacers win last night. And he said, well, you want the radio or TV set? I don't care. Just whatever sounds the best. Just grab some audio. And he grabbed 3 different pieces of audio, including this one.
Okay, so these are I didn't even know there was a Korean language broadcast. But here is how, if you were watching in Korean, the end of the Pacers game would have sounded for you last night.
네, 없이가요. 자, 언더독인 인디애나가 익숙한 상황을 맞이한다. 하지못해
Wow! I know wow and shouting.
I heard Indiana in there as well.
So there you go.
Very exciting.
All right. Okay. So I think most people know by now, but Elon Musk and Donald Trump, the relationship has totally disintegrated because Musk. Does this sound familiar? Someone ran on something. They promised to do something. They haven't done it. The guy who helped them get elected gets pissed off that the promise was not kept. And then the guy who isn't holding up his promise turns on the guy who's holding him accountable to the things he promised the people.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar, Casey?
It's on every level.
So this is...
Local, state, federal, same story.
Yeah.
It's the same picture, Rob.
Yes, absolutely. So Musk is mad, and rightfully so, that Trump and the Republicans used him, his platform, all his money to get elected, and then have this horrible bill that adds all this money to the debt, the annual deficit. It is legalized vote buying. It's not reforming government. It's not really cutting spending of any sort of meaningful way. Speaks out, as Trump always does. He can't stand again, does this sound familiar? Can't stand criticism, can't stand facts being presented to him, and of course then just turns on the guy rather than doing, again, sound familiar? Instead of doing some sort of internal reflection and going, why is this guy mad? Did I promise those things? Am I living up to my obligation? Am I doing the things that I promised I was going to do? Maybe this guy is actually right and I should listen to him and do more things that he's saying. No, Trump did the thing that he always does. He turns on the guy when they don't smooch both of his butt cheeks. By the way, speaking of smooch and butt cheeks, look, we need to have a medical professional do a check on Jim Banks, because I am worried he is not even getting air. His face is jammed so far up Donald Trump's ass at this point.
Yeah.
We're going to play that clip from yesterday of Banks on Hammer, and holy smokes. But anyway, now Trump has gone at Musk. Musk fired back and said basically Trump didn't release the Epstein files because he's in it.
Right.
And then Trump, threatened to cut all the contracts with Tesla.
Right.
I think I sort of summed it up, right?
All the Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. That would be the easiest way to cut billions and billions of dollars. That's what Trump said.
Then didn't Musk come out and say, I already told you cut all the EV subsidies a long time
and then
ago.
Musk came out and said, okay, fine, we're going to stop, creating spaceships for you guys.
Yeah, and again, this is all about Donald Trump and the Republicans not living up to the promises they made. And just like, why do they hate me? Because why do they hate us? Because we hold them accountable and have a platform. Why does he hate Elon Musk? Because Elon Musk is holding him accountable and has a platform. These people in elected offices believe they're better than you. They believe they shouldn't be held to their word, and they're mad when there's a guy that they have no strings over, who doesn't want anything, who is only out for the betterment of his state or his community, or in this case, the country, and says, I'm going to hold you to account for the promises that you made. They can't stand that.
One of my favorite tweets from Trump was when he called him mediocre Musk.
Oh, yeah,
and then he said he was constantly high on ketamine.
Probably, but he's also freaking brilliant.
Always making promises that he can't keep. Not to be trusted. He wants to go to Mars. I mean, it's like this. They're bad breaker-uppers is what they are.
But again, it's, and I 100% can I identify with the feelings that Elon Musk is having. Like I said, I got out easy because I just lost my pride and my dignity for supporting liars.
You didn't donate $291 million like Elon Musk did. Think about how interesting this is, though, when you have the world's richest man, right? And the leader of the free world, most powerful guy, President Donald Trump, having this public fight, which you knew was going to happen, right? The second they started teaming up, I think you had to, okay, this isn't going to end well. And they're such narcissistic people, right? Control freaks. They got to have the last word. And to watch them go at it on such a public level, and you've got Trump, who's using his social media, Truth Social, putting stuff out. Everybody's retweeting it on X, which is Elon Musk's platform. It's just incredible to watch. The whole world is seeing this.
But I hope what people are seeing out of this, and this is one of my concerns, is they're just seeing the fight between Musk and Trump and not seeing what is most important, which is how broken our government is, how they're spending us into oblivion, how these spending decisions and irresponsible government decisions they're making, how it's diluting your ability to afford food and gas and the role it's playing in the decline of this country. And I hope Elon Musk and his vocal criticism is at least shining a light on this. Now, a couple of things. One, Trump's in the Epstein file. I actually don't doubt Donald Trump is in the Epstein file. However, I don't think it's for he was flying to Epstein Island or he was on Epstein's plane or he was plotting with Epstein. Just like many other people who are probably in the Epstein file, he probably did have, as a billionaire developer, some sort of meeting at some point that either directly or just Epstein being a part of it involved Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, that's just Elon Musk throwing shade, right? Because if he really thought that Donald Trump was a threat on that level, why would he let him watch his 5-year-old son?
Sure, but at the same time, I also don't doubt that Trump must claim that that's why Trump doesn't want it released, because he doesn't want the association. That would not surprise me either. So two things, like Musk can be wrong and right at the same time, in the sense of he's trying to insinuate, he wants you to think he was on the Lolita Express or something,
right,
which no reasonable person believes that. However, he also may be correct that Trump does appear in the Epstein files maybe multiple times, and that is why. Because why wouldn't they release them? They promised to do it. They didn't do it. They tried to deceive the country with the initial release. So both of these things can be true. Okay, I'm, of course, 100% team Elon Musk because I believe that Republicans should be held to, again, by the way, Nicholas in the YouTube chat is right, release everything on Epstein, and we can put all of this
to
bed, right?
Right.
Okay.
Put it behind us.
I'm team Musk on this because I think Trump has, again, not held up his promised to get government under control, get spending under control, reform the system in terms of, he's doing a fine job on the border. I'm not disputing that, and he seems to be doing an okay job on foreign policy. But the spending and the domestic stuff and the legalized vote buying, totally out of control. Who are you with?
You know what? Here's the interesting thing. I agree with Elon Musk on many of the points that he has to say.
Yes.
However, I'm also taking into account that Elon Musk is out there saying he wouldn't have won without me. I don't buy that. I think Trump won the election the day the attempted assassination happened.
Wait. So you think without Twitter or Musk's money, Trump still would have won?
I think there's a pretty good chance.
Interesting.
Yeah, because people were not happy with the way the country was going under Biden. And when that assassination attempt happened, I think that's when it was solidified for him. Elon did not get on board with Trump until after that happened, and then until after Joe Biden dropped out. So Elon wasn't dark MAGA and all about Trump until those things happened.
So let me ask it this way. If Musk had Twitter in 2020, would Trump have lost the election?
Oh.
Or not been the president? Let me word it that way.
Well.
Would Trump have, if Elon Musk had owned, as Jeopardy, you must phrase it in the form of a question.
You're going under the assumption that all the votes were tallied properly.
Well, this is what I'm asking you, Casey. If Elon Musk had owned Twitter in 2020, would Donald Trump have been declared the winner of the election? There, how about that? That's a good way to word it.
That's a good question. I don't know because you still had the media doing everything they could for Biden.
But I don't think we can underscore the role Twitter played in getting free thought back into the American populace.
It's true.
I'm not disputing what you're saying. Look, it is and again, we're going through it right now. Well, I'm going through it right now. Casey's an innocent victim in all this, as normal, where people know who you are when they engage in a political-minded relationship with you. And when you're doing business the way you've always done business to take out the guys they don't like or the other side or the other team, you go, buddy, and you tell them very clearly, this is what I expect for my support. And it's not what I expect in terms of I want some sort of contract or job or anything. I expect you to be different and to behave differently and govern differently than the people that I'm being myself to which is helping you. And if you don't, I will treat you the same way I treated them. And then you don't do the thing that was made very clear to you, and then you act like you're some sort of victim over accountability being put on you. And I have no tolerance for that. And I feel like that's what Trump is doing, where he used this guy to get elected, and I think there's a lot of validity in what you're saying, that Trump may very well have won. Anyway, I don't know what role Twitter played. I think Twitter was way important than the money. I think the freedom of Twitter was more important than the money. But you can't act offended when he is being the guy who's being consistent in all of this. Can you? You can't act like you've been some egregious behavior taking place.
Elon's reasoning for buying Twitter wasn't to get Trump elected.
No, you're right.
It was to restore free speech.
That's right.
So I don't know. You can't really use that as a reason for it.
Okay, so when we come back, we have got to again encourage the populace. If you are a medical worker of some sort, if you have a medical background, someone needs to do an immediate health check on Jim Banks, because I'm worried he is not getting enough oxygen with his nose being firmly implanted right between both of Trump's butt cheeks. This audio from yesterday on Hammer and Nigel, that in defense of the spending and all of this,
beautiful bill.
This is gross.
All right, we'll get to it coming up from 93 WIBC.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Stylin'. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Resolving the feud. It's cloudy, 69 in downtown Indianapolis. Your high today, 80. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:30. There appears to be no big, beautiful ceasefire yet in the war of words between President Donald Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk.
The lowest blows came from Elon's side when he posted, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election, Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate." And then this one, time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. The president shot back. Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy.
Fox's Peter Ducey reporting from the White House. The feud triggered by Musk coming out against the president's tax cut and spending bill, saying it does not do enough to cut government spending. There have been conflicting reports about a potential phone chat between the president and Musk. A U.S. district judge is issuing an order that will block the Trump administration's plan to block visas for foreign students planning to attend Harvard. The order came out late Thursday. A hearing is set for June 16th on whether to completely block the proclamation indefinitely. And a ceremony being held at the Normandy American Cemetery in France in honor of the 81st anniversary of D-Day. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is there. Over 4,000 Allied troops were killed on D-Day, with thousands more wounded. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. The Dow's up over 400 points to 42,319. S&P 500 also up 60 points, 5,939. And the NASDAQ is in the green, up 227 to 21,547. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the mountains or go pick up your dry cleaning? RV wins! Are we cleaning the gutters or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Are we getting a new passport or cruising up the coast? RV wins!
Don't forget, you got that trip to Sweden coming up.
Oh, yeah, passport, then RV.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
From military life to a rewarding career in IT, kickstart your new journey in a matter of months in the fields of IT and cybersecurity, including AI. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including VA benefits.
It's JMV, and June sales are here at Miss M's Home and Garden. 20% off all annuals, 30% off all pottery, and 20% off patio furniture. State Road 135 in Bargersville.
As a caregiver, managing your loved one's health can at times be overwhelming. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. In a moment, I'll share 3 tips to help you manage your loved one's medical care effectively.
Cardon and Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Tip number 1, keep a list of all medications, dosages, and schedules to ensure your loved one is taking their medication correctly. Second, attend doctor's appointments with your loved one when you're able. And finally, stay organized by keeping forms, notes, and other important documents in one secure place. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Wheat Grow Hair Indy. You know, guys are on top of their game. Choose Wheat Grow Hair Indy.
People like Rajiv Ram, 2-time Olympic medal winner. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com and you'll see who these champions are. Top radio personalities, coaches, former NFL players. They know We Grow Hair Indy had the technology and results to grow their hair back. I chose We Grow Hair Indy because I wanted to get my confidence back. And every time I look in the mirror, I'm so glad I made the choice to go to We Grow Hair Indy. And you can get your confidence back. It's so simple. Head over to WeGrowHairIndy.com today or call 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation, and you could be getting your confidence back. Be on top of your game and look like a champion. Call We Grow Hair Indy today, 317-522-2995.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Okay, if you know Jim Banks, I am requesting that someone do a med check on him, like a full, the full examination, because I am really worried with his face just firmly implanted in Trump's ass that he is not getting the proper amount of oxygen. This guy, well, we've always known what a total fraudster Jim Banks is when the guy voted for Kevin McCarthy for speaker 15 times, and then Holcomb and Todd Young and the state party endorsed him for Senate, and they went to all that effort to make sure nobody can get on the ballot to run against him and all that other stuff. You didn't need to guess how his voting was going to go and what he's going to do, because they don't make mistakes over there at state party like that. They don't make mistakes. They don't support people. They don't know what they're going to do.
Right.
And what has Banks been since he got in there? He's been he's like Benny from The Mummy. Remember The Mummy had the little assistant guy, Benny, who was just the stooge who ran around and did whatever help facilitate the mummy's wishes. That's what basically, maybe that'll be Banks' name is Benny.
Yeah, because he's got the talking points down.
I mean, that's all he's doing. He just parrots. There is no independence. There is no semblance of original thought. There is no creativity. It's just whatever Trump says, that's what I'm going to do. And somebody needs to let Benny know that his job is not to be a lapdog or a yes man. Benny's job is to be a check and balance when the president gets out of hand or proposes something bad. Which in this case, how could you not think, Benny, that with the West being $37 trillion in debt, that adding a penny to the nation's debt is not anything but bad?
He was on with Hammer and Nigel yesterday, and they talked about a lot of different things. But at one point, I believe it was Nigel who asked Senator Jim Banks what we should be concerned about in regards to the feud with Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
Yes.
And he used it as an opportunity to extol all of the benefits of the big, beautiful bill. Take a listen.
Here's what you should be afraid of. You should be afraid of the one big, beautiful bill not passing, because if it doesn't pass, it'll be the biggest tax increase on every single person listening to this show right now. Your taxes will go up
real quick. Pause
on average.
Because I know what he says here, and there's a whole bunch of things, and if I just let it go at the end, there's going to be too many things that I'm going to be upset about, and I won't get to all of them. First of all, Donald Trump has put people in this position by insisting that this thing get passed is one thing, because he knows a bunch of it won't pass on its own. Is doing the thing that we always rail on government for doing, and now our guy's doing it, our side's doing it, which is we'll take a bunch of stuff that won't pass. It's what they just did in this state, like throwing the IU trustees into the budget because you have to pass a budget, or how remember when Dan Elliott was on talking about how they were trying to do that banking bill and stick it in the budget because you got to pass a budget,
or closing a school system in Senate Bill 1
in a property tax bill, right? Yeah. So Benny, whatever we're calling him now, Benny Banks, knows that Trump could pass the reestablishment of those tax cuts tomorrow without debate or without discussion if he just put the tax cuts forward, the renewal of the tax cuts on its own, it would pass. Benny Banks is being totally disingenuous there. Go ahead.
$1,000 a family if the big, beautiful bill. $3,000 a family if the big, beautiful bill doesn't extend the Trump tax cuts on individuals and small businesses in America. It'll be a severe hit. That's why we have a moral obligation to pass this bill because of what it does for the men and women who go to work every day.
So he said that the average person would have an extra $3,000 tax bill if they don't pass the big, beautiful bill.
He also said a moral obligation. What about a moral obligation to people who are going to pay for all this, Senator? Who's paying for this?
He gets to the spending.
People who do, but I want to take up that moral obligation bull crap. What these guys do is they're professional dine and dashers. Young, Benny Banks, Spendingberg, Baird, all these guys in the Congress that vote for this stuff. They're professional dine and dashers in which they rack up this big bill. They go, look, you've got to eat. If you don't eat, you're going to die. Okay, well, here's a $3 meal. No. You've got to eat this $30 steak. But you're saying if I don't eat, I'm going to die, and I can eat for $3 and I'll stay alive. No, you've got to either eat this $30 steak and someone else will pay for it. We're going to make somebody else pay for the $30 steak. You have a moral obligation to eat this $30 steak that we're going to make some other guy pay for. Mm-hmm. That is so disgusting. Benny Banks should be ashamed of himself. Go ahead, Landon.
$3,000 a family if they work every day for mechanics and factory workers and police officers and teachers, for all of you. So it's so important that we pass it. Is it perfect? No, of course it's not perfect. And in the Senate, we're going to make it better. It passed out of the House by one vote, and they're waiting.
All they're talking about doing in the Senate, there is not a single conversation right now about making it less spending. Mm-hmm. The actual conversation in the Senate is about how to make it so that people who are capable of going to work, who can walk and talk and lift things, still get free insurance, free air quote. Of course, it's paid for by you.
Yeah.
They're not talking about what does Rand Paul want. They're not talking about what does Ron Johnson, stereo salesman, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, what does he want? They're talking about what does Holly want, and Murkowski and Collins, which is continuing the waste, fraud, and abuse of Medicaid. Jim Banks either is totally clueless about, and I don't know with him. I don't know if he is totally clueless about what's going on in the Senate, or he's just patently lying to Hammer and Nigel. Now, I thought he was friends with those guys, so that's pretty gross if he's just lying right to the face. And the thousands of people who listen to Hammer and Nigel every day, that's pretty disgusting, pretty disrespectful to those guys. But that's the only possible two options at this point. Go ahead.
Is that we can make it stronger, but we got to come back. We got to come back in the next spending bill and cut spending and address the debt. This is about extending tax cuts on everyday working Americans. Is what the bill does. Is why it's important, and we have to pass it.
Okay. Wait. He said, come back?
Yes. So I thought that last part from him was very important. Landon, I don't know if you can rewind and just get that last section there. So what he is saying is that they have to pass this big, beautiful bill because that will extend the 2017 Trump tax cuts, right?
Right.
It will also increase the debt. You've got a $150 billion increase in the Department of Defense. We know about all the spending, right?
Uh-huh.
And then he says, but we'll come back later to cut spending.
But we got to come back. We got to come back in the next spending bill and cut spending and address the debt. This is about extending tax cuts on everyday working Americans. Is what the bill does. Is why it's important, and we have to pass it.
How many times have we heard that?
Yeah, well, first of all, then why is there all this border component to it? If it's about extending the tax cuts, which is what, and see, again, people like Ron Johnson and Rand Paul said split this up, do the short stuff, the easy stuff first, pass the tax cuts, make a few cuts to the government to pay for these tax cuts, and we'll be fine and gladly approve that. They've been loud about that. They've been vocal about that. So again, either this guy, and maybe this is just a theory. It's a working theory. I'm not a medical professional. Maybe with the lack of oxygen to Banks's brain because his head is jammed so far up Donald Trump's backside, maybe his hearing has now been affected and his ability to read and comprehend that he is not hearing nor reading his colleagues who have proposed to do just what he said, which is extend the tax cuts. This bill is about everything but extending the tax cuts. It's about new giveaways so that you can secure the state of Nevada. It's about the border stuff. It's about national defense. It's about everything but the tax cuts. and he just lies with a straight face. I mean, he just lies with us. There's no way he doesn't know that.
How many times have we heard this, though? We're just going to do this now, and we'll come back later.
Yeah, why not now?
And fix it.
It's right here in front of you. You can fix it right now. There's always a tomorrow where the hard stuff is supposed to get done, and it never gets done, whether it's property tax reform, whether it's spending cuts in Washington. Well, we're coming back for that. We're coming back for that next year.
Right, we'll fix it.
Benny Banks is a gross, disgusting person, and I've been telling you for years what he is. Any guy who would vote for Kevin McCarthy 15 times, you know exactly what he is. Any person that Holcomb and Todd Young were on board with, you know exactly what they are. And once again, Casey.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Yeah, I just keep voting for these people. Just keep voting for them.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hey, it's producer Allison reminding you to kick off the weekend today with Hammer and Nigel for, wait for it, Beer Sample Friday. Fun starts at 3 o'clock.
When you golf in Missouri, the courses are so close, you'll spend more time on the fairway than the freeway. After the back nine, enjoy world-class dining in distilleries, shops, spas, museums, and more. Find your new golf MO at visitmo.com.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a D-SNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A D-SNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana D-SNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for LD Smith Plumbing. Joining me now is really the head of the whole company. Lance thinks he's the boss, but it's really not. It's Jennifer. You're the proud mother of LD Smith Plumbing, whether you want the job or not. How much fun is it to see those 5-star reviews?
It is the best. We love to review those with the guys. To see their smiling faces and know that we have done such a good job in the field is just priceless. My goal is always to make their day a little bit easier. For any plumbing issue, it's ldsmithplumbing.com.
Hi, Jeff Roush for Tom Roush Lincoln. Right now, get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators, up to $8,000 off select 2024 Nautilus, or up to $7,000 off select 2024 Corsair at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Navigator MSRP 105,575, Nautilus MSRP 61,995, Corsair MSRP 47,820. Offers going on now. Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
If you're pressed for time, the WIBC Mashup Podcast is your shortcut to the smartest, sharpest, and strangest moments on air. It's the best content from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Updated daily. Find the WIBC Mashup wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we got to get to the age of these people in Congress, but first I want to do a little, it's a tease/warning.
Okay.
A twarning.
Twarning.
We'll call it a twarning.
Nice word.
So obviously we broke the Mike Bohachik story about the state senator with the egregious OWI charges that was covered up from you because he hid behind that lawmaker shield for months. And I think we are about to break another story related to alleged OWI by a member of the General Assembly that was kept from public view. I am still, as I did with Bohachik, I'm going to give this person, because they already know that we know, and actually if you scour the internet pretty closely, some other, what do we call them, like citizen journalist type of people are
influencers.
Putting, wouldn't go that far. I'd call them
okay.
People actively engaged in the governmental process have put this information out. Now, I hold us to higher standard. Obviously, we're the most powerful media outlet in the city, in the state probably, so I hold us to a higher standard, and I give the alleged people in question an opportunity to confirm or deny and follow up and before we do big things. But I want to get this out there that it's out there, because you're going to start seeing it probably over the weekend, and everybody needs to know it emanated out of us yesterday putting this out there, and then people started scouring and looking and blah, blah, blah. So I think this story, and I'll lay it out whether this guy responds or not. So I have emailed his office. When we go top of the hour break, I'm going to call the office just like I did with Bohachik. I'm sure there will not be a comment. And then Monday, whether he comments or not, I will lay out what we have. And you have seen it. It's pretty overwhelming. And the way that this evaded public scrutiny is very concerning. Bohachik hid behind a constitutional shield. This is even more interesting.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to put that out there because people are starting to run with what we put out yesterday. And I'm sure some of the sources have used multiple other people, but to put out, we have done the legwork on this. And Monday we will do the big reveal on all the evidence that we have, and if somebody else tries to take credit, know that it emanated from us. I'm not letting people steal my credit, Casey, if I'm going to do things the right way.
Yeah, if you've been doing the work and you've been checking the facts, and it is something, though, how you get little whispers in your ear. People want to give you information, and then we go through the process of fact-checking it, make sure it's on the up and up.
Right, and we... these lawmakers need to know, I'm getting this from people that work with you, okay? Because they hate you, and they hate what you're doing to the state, and they hate how you're big fat phonies, and they hate how you're two-faced, and they hate how you're screwing the populace, and you sit on these fake, phony moral high horses while your closet is littered with skeletons, and then you go in your hypocrisy and you lord over 7 million people, and you act like you're the smartest people in any room, and that though you're above reproach. And you know what? I've heard this from multiple people. You know what really why they're starting to give it now is the elitist attitude by how these lawmakers handled property taxes, where when they, and you'll hear this from Jim Lucas, which is fascinating, how he tries to, in this interview he did with Abdul, because when this Bohachik stuff broke, Abdul interviewed Jim Lucas, who is the most stupid member of the General Assembly. Like, if you had them all take IQ test, Lucas would be a strong runner for dead last. He basically is like, well, we're not infallible people. We make mistakes. But yet when they got challenged on property taxes, it was, we're smarter than you.
Right, we know what's
going on. We know Rob Kendall's lying, blah, blah, blah.
You don't know how property taxes work.
That's right. So if you're in the State House, your own people are turning you in, because they've had enough of it. And I got a stack of stuff, Casey, and there's only so many hours in the day. By the way, I'm not suicidal. I love my life. I've never done drugs. I have no idea what drugs are, and I'm not engaged in any felonious activities. Let me put all of those things out there. Okay, what is going on with these old people in Congress? And I would say that in jest, right? The age is not necessarily old. It is the fact that in many cases they've been there forever.
Well, right now marks the highest number of older members in Congress in modern U.S. history. Nearly 120 members of Congress are 70 or older, 86 in the House, 33 in the Senate.
And again, it's not necessarily the age. In some cases, you've got these late 80s people. Some are even in their 90s. Okay, that's an issue. But certainly, many people are highly sharp in their 70s and doing great things. And it's not that. It's that in many cases, these people have been there for 30 years or 40 years, or in some cases 50 years, or they've ping-ponged over 50 years from, the House to the Senate. Their whole life is the government. There's no new ideas. They're total institutionalists. And they're not doing anything for us.
Well, it's the same thing we used to say with Joe Biden. He was in there for 50 years. If you couldn't get the job done in 50 years, you need to move on. And so many times, seniority and longevity are rewarded in elections.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, our friend Adam Wren has a report that Mike Braun may be pondering a run for president. That's a thing. And the Star reported that Joe Hogsett was kind of scumbaggy McScummerson.
Inappropriate? It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
You've spent a lifetime passing down traditions. Dinners with the family, father and son fishing trips, that secret family recipe that has been passed down for generations. Now there's one more thing you can pass on. Hope. Hope for someone waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. Because one organ donor can save up to 8 lives. Make your legacy one of hope. Say yes to organ donation. Visit DonateLifeIndiana.org to learn more.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
In 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, the Pacers continuing to silence the doubters. How a child died in Rush County this week. The charges a Muncie couple is facing over their treatment of one of their kids. And an Evansville man is facing multiple level 5 felonies. We'll give those to you in just a few moments. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
The report is going over well on Wall Street. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Dow surging up more than 500 points after we found out while hiring in may have slowed a bit from April, the 139,000 jobs created were more than expected as the unemployment rate stayed the same, 4.2%. President Trump once again urging the Federal Reserve to make an interest rate cut.
The economy the president is stewarding is performing fantastically.
Steve Myron, White House Council of Economic Advisors chairman on Fox, also reacted to Elon Musk predicting tariffs will lead to a recession. Myron says there were Trump tariffs in 2018 and 19.
And there was zero evidence whatsoever of any drag on the economy. In fact, the economy did very, very well. So we've been hearing from these doomsayers and Chicken Littles about tariffs for a long time, and we don't expect any of that this time.
Now, that Musk recession prediction came in the middle of a public feud that broke out yesterday with President Trump, who didn't like Musk railing against the budget bill the president calls big and beautiful. House Republicans passed and the Senate is considering.
The closest thing to a detente so far was Musk writing, "You're not wrong," to billionaire Bill Ackman, who wrote, "I support Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and they should make peace for the benefit of our great country. We are much stronger together than apart." And officials here basically say the big, beautiful bill is more important to President Trump than making nice with Elon Musk.
So Fox's Peter Doocy reports from the White House there are no plans for the president and Musk to talk today, as an earlier Politico report had suggested. A win for Harvard, fighting the president's attempt to block the university from accepting new foreign students.
The federal judge granted a temporary restraining order, siding with Harvard's argument that if the ban moved forward, quote, "it will sustain immediate and irreparable injury before there is an opportunity to hear from all parties." The White House argues that foreign adversaries are exploiting U.S. universities to gain intelligence and spread influence.
Fox's Nate Foy. Today marks 81 years since D-Day. That ceremony commemorating U.S. and Allied forces storming the beaches of Normandy, France, in the attack key to defeating the Nazis in World War II. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Never out till you see zero. Cloudy skies, 71 in downtown Indianapolis. The high today will reach 80. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Sometimes lightning does strike twice.
The Pacers with a chance to win it. Final seconds, no fouls to give. Halliburton looking. Halliburton driving, pulls up, jump shot. It's good! It's good! With 0.3 of a second remaining.
A call on ESPN as Tyrese Halliburton lifted the Indiana Pacers to a 111-110 win over the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. The Pacers at one point trailed by 15.
I thought we did a great job of just walking them down. You know, when it gets to 15, you know, you can panic or you can talk about how do we get it to 10, how do we get it to 5, and from there. So I don't know what you say about it. I just know that this group is a resilient group, and you know, we don't give up till 0.
Halliburton would finish with 14 points. Indiana takes a 1-0 series lead into Game 2, which will be on Sunday back in Oklahoma City. Deputies in Rush County are investigating the death of a child in a house fire Thursday. Firefighters found the house in the town of Arlington fully engulfed in flames with a young child inside. The Rush County Coroner's Office pronounced the child dead at the scene. The child's identity not yet released. Eating only canned goods is what police say was fed to a child in Muncie. Johnette Cruz reports.
A Muncie couple is facing over a dozen felony charges following a disturbing child neglect investigation. Muncie police say Adam and Melody Greenwood severely punished their 10-year-old son, leaving him emaciated. Investigators learned the boy was forced to eat only canned food while his 7 siblings ate regular meals. He was also reportedly forced to stand facing a wall for up to 12 hours a day with a blanket over his head. Both Adam and Melody Greenwood have been charged with multiple counts of neglect and battery and are now waiting a court hearing. Johnette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And an Evansville man is charged with multiple level 5 felonies, possession of child pornography and child exploitation and solicitation. Vanderburgh County deputies arrested 42-year-old Christopher William Evans at his home Thursday. They started an investigation into him beginning in February from a cyber tip. Evans admitted to downloading and then distributing child pornography and using Kik to try and solicit minors. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level on the go and at WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey back in 1 minute.
911, what's your emergency?
In an emergency, voice is best. But what if you can't call?
Escalated domestic disturbance reported east of downtown. Be advised, alert was received by a 911 emergency text. Caller is hiding in a closet and can't use her voice.
When the situation is too dangerous to make a call, text to 911. Capability Now helps Hoosiers. But in most emergencies, voice is still best.
My sister's not breathing. Please hurry.
In the last 5 years, Hoosiers have used text capability in over 1 million 911 sessions. It's of great help to the deaf and speech impaired and to those in select dangerous situations. Thanks to the statewide 911 board, Indiana leads the nation with all 92 counties having in- and outbound text capability. For more, visit in911.net.
It's good to hear your voice. Help is on the way.
911. Before you text, voice is best.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WYBC.
Okay, so do I understand this right? That Adam Wren, we've had him on this show before, friend of the show. The guy who wants, what do you call him, the most powerful broadcaster in the state.
Yes.
Is that right? Yes. That fabulous article. He does a newsletter that covers the state of Indiana called Importantville. He also is a writer for Politico. He is reporting that Braun is considering a run for president?
Yes. So this came out this morning at 7:54. He says, scoop, first-term Indiana Governor Mike Braun, just through his first legislative session, has privately discussed the idea of mounting his own presidential campaign ahead of 2028.
Okay, so... One, the level of narcissism, I mean, on full display with that, with what a dumpster fire this session was. Nothing but growth of government, tax increases, lying to people. Everyone hates your guts. He can't even make a post about the Pacers without 10,000 people telling him to rotten hell. And this guy's like, I should run for president.
I'm very popular. People like me.
Which does call into question that meeting he had with those well-intended grassroots people where he was told him he was all in on property taxes. I think running for president is sort of a full-time job, which means you won't really care about what's going on in your state. But think about, in this guy's mind, if indeed this is true, he's like, sure. Or does he even know? I have long thought Braun is totally immune. Like, they isolate him. Like, do you think Braun has ever actually worked a Twitter account? Do you think Braun has ever actually worked a Facebook page?
No, probably not.
Maybe
he's got a communications department doing that for him.
His only exposure to the populace may be like, remember when he gave that Politburo speech after session where the first person to stop clapping lost their hands? Oh, that's the Soviet Union. But I mean, that's what it reminded me of, right? Like, where he just only the media can't cover it or whatever. It's only the staffers and the lawmakers are allowed to go, or they can, I guess the media could cover, can't ask questions. I don't remember what the thing was, but it's like he's totally cut off. And multiple members of the media have told me now it's really hard to get questions answered by him. Like, if he does have, maybe it was Nikki Kelly was telling me, that if he does have a media availability, that it's like super short and then he's out and you almost can't get a question in, or it's really hard. So maybe in his world, they've led Grandpa to believe that he did an excellent job this session, that the public loves him, and that this would be a wonderful idea.
So he has maintained a national profile. He makes regular appearances on Fox News, and that would lead a little credence to having like RFK Jr. here. And him.
But what would he run on? The only reason people would know him was for making an ass out of himself repeatedly on national television as a senator. Multiple times he said just ridiculously stupid things, where he got depantsed by the interviewer, Tucker Carlson. Here, everyone hates him. Can you imagine if he ran for president? That would be great for our show. The national media would eat up our show because we say the truth about what Braun is and what he does. That would be great for Braun. You should do this.
So totally run.
This would be the best thing for our show, is for Braun to run for president. I can't believe we're saying that out loud.
Well, didn't he just form a new PAC?
Well, I think
he transferred some money.
There was
federal campaign committee.
He somehow transferred, and again, it's some legal maneuvering where his account that he had when he was a senator now transfers into some sort of political action committee. Somebody making a lot of money figured out how to do that, whatever. What would he even run on? I did.
His freedom and opportunity agenda?
I did blank.
He's going to take it nationwide.
And everyone's very happy. Now, the major problem we'd have with this is if Braun ran for president, it would theoretically put Micah in the conversation about running for governor. Although that might be fun too. We could definitely have some fun with. Yes, I'm on board with this. Braun should totally run for president.
Reasons.
Yes, for the
betterment of the state or the country.
No.
Purely for this radio program.
I'm on board. I don't know who I need to talk to about this. By the way, just quick follow-up. I did, as I did with Bohacek, I did call the office of the state rep allegedly involved in the OWI that's been swept under the rug. His person who answered was very nice and directed me to another person who can answer the question. And so I will make that phone call here within the hour and try to get a firm answer on that.
I want to go back to just a couple things with Braun really quick if we can.
Sure.
Didn't he leave the Senate because he wanted to come back to the great state of Indiana and help people here?
That's right.
Oh, or maybe it was just a launching point for a presidential run. And other update, I emailed his office yesterday.
That's right. So Casey emailed Braun's office because, Braun has never included her in any of the conversations that we had. Let me tell you how the private conversations with Braun went. They would invite me to something, and then magically Micah would show up because I don't know why, because bobblehead Beckwith, I guess, was going to
he was going to police you.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like Micah, they knew Micah had no idea what was going on, so whatever they said, he just not in agreement. But Micah was at all of these. And then at some point, Micah and Sherry, his chief of staff, showed up at that final meeting with Braun. Josh Kelly was always there. But Casey was never asked to be included. So I don't know if that's because Braun's anti-woman or what the deal was. But then Braun had this meeting with all these grass roots people the other day, which I'm now, I guess, excluded from that. And then he tried to poison their minds when we played some of that audio from that Jay Hart dude going ballistic, which Braun is a good con man. I mean, he is good at the con. And so I hope Jay and all the other people who win are seeing this, that you think he's thinking about you if he's also thinking about running for president?
No.
Do you think he's actually giving two damns about you or your property taxes
No.
if he's already moved on? And look, Adam Wren gets a lot, occasionally gets some stuff wrong, but he also gets a lot of stuff right. And so I would say there is at least, some smoke on this that it doesn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
A spokesperson did not respond.
If Adam's reporting it.
A spokesperson did not respond to Adam Wren. He requested comment on it.
Not responding to you either.
And they didn't respond to me either.
So they're not responding to anyone.
I've been ghosted by the governor.
Which that is really ridiculous. Okay, so what's going on with Hogsett? What's happening?
Well, there was that big report, $450,000 report, and there was a huge article in Indy Star yesterday, and now they're saying that Hogsett's role was whitewashed, and they diminished a lot of the victim's statements.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff was omitted.
Correct.
Including some sort of interaction. I'm trying to find it here. It's a big article at the Indy Star. Between Hogsett and one of these...
Caroline Ellert.
Yes, who he's texting her at night, and he appears very thirsty in his demanding correspondence.
He called her feisty. He joked about her needing his approval for a relationship, and he also told her Happy Valentine's Day.
And it's like, isn't there one where there's just one text after another? It's like boom, boom, boom. And it's like in the evening.
And
Aren't
the
you
timing
married?
of it, the timing of it was very interesting as well, because it happened during COVID, just weeks after the peaceful protests in downtown Indianapolis.
Here it is. This is what I'm looking for. And again, Haley Colombo and others at the Indy Star we're all over this. This is a really, really nice job. I'm going to just read you part of it so that people don't think we're making this up. Again, you read the whole article over at Indy Star. The mayor then sent repeated messages asking in various ways for Ellert's advice on an unspecified issue. In one, he said, quote, "I care what you think, ? This entire thing is completely frack up. Advise me how to deliver," he said in another text. Then the next, "I am asking." Then the next, "I need your advice, thanks." At that point, Ellert asked what he's talking about. Hogsett responded, "Like what I'm going through now, ? Quote, "It's only 9 a.m., he wrote, then correcting it to 9 p.m. in a follow-up message. "So tell me what I should do." She asked again what he needs advice on. The guy's so delusional, she doesn't even know what he's talking about. Hogsett replied, "About all things. this sounds like a person who's not mentally all there. Like somebody who could be on some sort of substance.
You're talking about a 63-year-old man asking a 26-year-old woman for advice. He was also asking her about poetry and old photos, a picture that they had posed together with, and requesting about emotional advice.
In several follow-up messages, the mayor implored Eller to respond, saying, quote, talk to me, please, hello, it's only 9:36 p.m.
I will not be ignored.
You're the mayor of the capital city, and this sounds like a person. Casey, you ever sent inebriated text messages to people?
Possibly, Rob.
Landon, ever sent inebriated text messages to people?
Not to my knowledge.
Oh, very good cover there. This sounds like a guy, people, who, might have had, I don't know, one too many cocktails. That's not normal behavior. That's not normal, nor business-like, nor appropriate behavior. As the mayor, please talk to me. Hello? It's like that sounds like a scorned lover. Hello?
Right. Why are you ignoring me? What would you do if your boss sent you a Happy Valentine's Day text?
Well, to my knowledge...
Would you think that's a little weird?
Well, David Wood is happily married, to the best of my knowledge, and I, as a 41-year-old man, would find that very...
Right.
Very strange.
Did he send that to his entire staff? Was it a group text? Everybody got the same message?
Hello? It's only 9:36. Please talk to me.
Or just one woman?
Office-wide message. Talk to me, please. Hello? This is the mayor of the capital city.
Yeah, and it's really clear that he was prioritizing optics over ethics.
And again, it's not whether some guy's stepping out on his wife or not. It's not whether some guy is... that's its own thing. That's between him and her, whatever the thing is. It's not whether the guy has a drinking problem or not. That is an issue for the taxpayers if he's making decisions with that issue, but not here. It's whether some person who you had some control over, you're badgering this person while it sounds like you could have been inebriated, and you're like begging them to respond to you in a totally inappropriate, unbusinesslike manner.
Happy Valentine's Day, Rob. It's a day where you celebrate love. It's not Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July.
I can say Casey and I have been coworkers for 3.5 years. We've experienced 3 Valentine's Days together. And we have never, I don't ever recall.
You're never sending me hearts and flowers and Happy Valentine's Day. Serious red flags seem to have been ignored in that $500,000 report that I, as an Indianapolis taxpayer, paid for.
Okay, so let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Stephen Whitmer. He helps run the Indy Reporter account. Now, a lot of people I know are catching on to this Indy Reporter account. They do a lot of coverage of state and local politics. They're getting a lot of new followers. They're doing very good, I don't know if reconnaissance work is the right word, but they're doing
They do a lot of man on the street
They
stuff,
do a
though.
lot of good stuff. They're helping break stories. They were very helpful with me with the Bohachik story, getting some stuff confirmed before I could put the story out there. And we're going to talk about what's going on with Hogsett. We're going to talk about what's going on with Diego. This will be Stephen Lets It Fly. So we'll people know Stephen's a colorful guy.
Should be pretty fun. He joins us next on 93 WIBC.
Another update is just minutes away.
He has a right to speak for his companies.
Bitter public fight between President Trump and Elon Musk.
President Trump has a responsibility to fight for this country.
The two may talk today.
Hear the news.
Shot from Tyrese Halliburton pulling up and hitting. Pacers are 3 wins away from its first ever title.
As events happen,
Arrested 2 teenagers.
we'll happen to be there.
Murder of an 86-year-old woman.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Spring is here, and that means it's time for new flooring in your home. Brothers Floor Covering is ready to help. Brand new carpet, hardwoods, laminates, and luxury vinyl plank in stock now. Plus, Brothers Floor Covering can get your new flooring installed in as little as 2 weeks. Visit Brothers Floor Covering today at their new location, 8550 North Michigan Road. Discover why buying local means getting more, not paying more. Get the flooring of your dreams installed now. Go to brothers-floorcovering.com. That's brothers-floorcovering.com.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market, just 20 minutes north of Carmel. We're proud to bring you the freshest produce farmed right here in Indiana and across the Midwest. And don't miss our home-style fried chicken, scratch-made bakery, and a deli packed with ready-to-go favorites. Got a sweet tooth? Check out a variety of old-fashioned candies, the kind that brings back sweet memories from your childhood. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about local freshness, friendly faces, and food that feels like home. Wilson Farm Market. That's Wilson Farm Market.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Trust employee owned. B-Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to be.
Maybe there's nights when I dream of a better world, but I wake up so downhearted, good. I see you feeling so tired.
You know, Casey, we've told the audience after we totally got screwed on many levels during the legislative session that we're just on a kamikaze mission here on the Kendall and Casey show.
I've heard you say that a time or two.
Let me rephrase that. I'm on a kamikaze mission. Casey, you
Am I
are
your co-pilot or just innocent bystander?
You are good and decent, and you're just an innocent victim in all of this. But you can't work with these people anymore. You can't trust them. You can't believe them. So we gotta just expose as much about these people as we possibly can so the public at large will know what sort of dirt balls are lording over them in society.
Yeah.
And look, in any good battle plan, you know, if you're on a kamikaze mission, you can't just have one kamikaze pilot. You got to have a group of people that are as equally nuts and into taking down the opponent as you are.
Yeah.
And I think we found some guys who might rise to the level of the Kendall and Casey show when it comes to hatred of bad government.
Collective group hitting the same target.
It's an account on Twitter that a lot of people have started following because they are doing in-depth research on the city of Indianapolis, on state government. They go by Indy Reporter. It's at Indy_reporter_. If you're following that at home, at Indy_reporter_. And they do all sorts of reporting all day on Indiana politics and government. One of the guys who runs the Indy Reporter account, Stephen Whitmer, joins us now. Stephen, hello.
Hello.
All right. So how do you guys do this? Because there's so much stuff. Do you just have nothing but free time? Like you guys at the Indy Reporter account, the state stuff, the local stuff, which we'll get into some of here. You guys are really breaking a lot of news over there.
Yeah, it's mostly I'm doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I'm watching what was going on in the State House. The other two people, they're clipping things. They're finding things in the articles that maybe I've missed, double checking, triple checking, and then finding those like nuanced things on social media. There's a couple of good Facebook pages out there with Indianapolis Watch or Make LaPorte Great Again, which is how we found the Bohachik thing.
Yeah, so I wanted to point that out that you guys, I had many sources on this, but you guys were one of the people who was helping me verify information on that Mike Bohachik story about the OWI. You have been, obviously, you live in the city of Indianapolis. You've run for State House. You have covered the Hogsett scandal, the Thomas Carl Cook scandal at length. That report came out. They totally covered for him in that report on Joe Hogsett and Thomas Carl Cook, right?
100%. And not only that, but the Indianapolis GOP totally flubbed this. There are so many things that they could have brought up to really put pressure on it, to get more documents out. I watched all the investigative committees multiple times, and one of the things that I noticed is that there was no pressure from the two Republican city councilors asking questions about, hey, you know what? We got 4 out of the 5 Democrat councilors that received money from. Oh, we're having to pay an extra $18,000 on the original investigation that there was on Thomas Carl Cook. It was from Taft. Taft gave hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's a law firm, right?
It's a law firm, and they gave a bunch of money to Hogsett during his mayoral campaign.
One of the things that's fascinating to me is Lauren Roberts, who is one of the alleged victims. She lives in Denver now, so she was not at she was virtually at the event, and then she put out a almost 50-page thing on Substack detailing what she gave the investigators. And one thing that's wild to me that nobody's talking about is she basically alleges, it's the first person in Hogsett's orbit to allege this because she was around him. And then Indy Star comes out with all this new stuff yesterday about his correspondence with people around him.
The text. And you know what? Let me just point out.
Real quick, though, I just want to, before I do this, she alleges he has a serious drinking problem. And she's the first person in his orbit to say that. And nobody's talking about this.
Oh, yeah. They're not even talking about it, but they're not talking about the late night text that Ellert was getting as well.
Yeah,
right. And well, that's what I wanted to talk about, because you're talking about a period of time when the whole city is locked down,
Yeah.
right? This is in the middle of COVID. This is just days after the riots, where we still don't know where he was. And there's these inappropriate texts that are going around.
Yeah, it's not like 1 o'clock in the morning. It's pretty early in the nighttime, 9:30, 10 o'clock. It just seems like, wow, that's an incredible time to be doing that.
Stephen Whitmer is our guest. He helps run the Indy Reporter account. If you're not, you should be following them. It's at Indy_reporter_. They do all sorts of state and local stuff. We like Stephen. We kind of been frenemies, but I said we should team up because we're both on sort of the same kamikaze mission at this point.
Mutual targets.
That's right. As I think you said yesterday in the YouTube chat, you need multiple white knuckle people if you're going to take down the whole system. Okay, so why are the Republicans in Indianapolis so inept on this? It seems like a freebie. Shreve was awful on this when he ran for mayor. The county councilors are awful on this. Even if you can't do anything, you can draw attention to it, and they don't seem to want to do this.
Yeah, that's what we've been trying to figure out, too. I mean, if I've had to put my tinfoil hat on, I'd have to say that they're probably protecting something that they are. Everybody has skeletons in the closet, and it's like, which one's got the worst skeleton? And what we heard, that Shreve kind of knew about this Thomas Carl Cook thing during the mayoral campaign, but he didn't want to bring it up. And it possibly, just throwing it out there, that Bose might have been involved. Everybody knows that Bose helps out both sides of the aisle. A lot of money is involved. A lot of lobbying is involved. But like I said earlier, I mean, big flub from the GOP.
Now, is Bose where Cook went?
Yep.
When
he
Thomas Carl
was a partner there.
Left the mayor's office, and obviously Hogsett knew about all this stuff, as the report is clear, whether he legally fulfilled his obligation. He knew what a complete dirtball Cook was, and then he just hooks him up at this major law firm in the city.
68 days he gave him.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
Okay, so let's talk about Diego for a second, because you've been on this Diego stuff for years. There's something very wrong about what happened in India. We're not out in left field on this. There's something that really stinks.
Yeah, there's something for sure. We've went through every single campaign report ever since he filed in 2020. There was a dramatic shift in how much money that he was raising. But, you know, I know somebody was talking about how much money he gets from the dealerships. That's pretty standard. We saw that with Holly Sullivan and even Rokita back then. I mean, he raised like $1 million, and that was, back in 2005 or something like that. But there was the accusation about possibly doing something with the cartels, and then something to do with people in his own office trying to get donations. There was something, but there was all allegations to do. The only thing that we found was there possible Mexican restaurants that were involved. It's a big, I don't know, franchise, you could say.
That's not normal, though, so we know this guy, Raju Shintala, has a contract with his office.
Yep.
We asked, what does the guy do? Not a gotcha question. We can't tell from this document what the contract says he does. Just tell us what he does. He does communications, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, not answering that question. That's not a normal approach to governance, is it?
No, not really. And then when Capital Chronicle came out in December with that report of MTX and Clean Slate getting those contracts, we went onto the contract website to find them, and then they had to ask them for the contracts. Like, oh, that's why we couldn't find them. We were seeing all these donations from MTX, from Das Noble, not even just Clean Slate, but also the people that worked at Clean Slate too. And
something that I found when I was looking through some of the campaign donations was that you'll see a company listed, and then you go to find information about that company, but that's just an offshoot of another company.
Oh, yeah.
And it's company after company that it takes a while just to figure out one.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, if you have to follow the addresses, it's like all these short-term rentals. You have to go through like 4 different companies to find out the main one.
Did you find that a lot of them were based out of Dallas as well?
I've definitely Texas for sure, and then around the Dallas metro area.
Yeah.
And that's weird, because why would you as a company in another state be giving to a guy who's a secretary of state for a state that's half a country away?
Yeah, and it's a lot of money too. I'm not talking about a couple $1,000s, like $50,000.
You have a theory, because as you know, and thank you for sharing Micah and I, our fabulous interaction the other day over on the Indy Reporter account. Do you have a theory why no one will touch this in the State House? It seems like, I mean, Rokita's Billy Badass with Notre Dame and Butler and these universities and potential mass government corruption seems like, boy, what a great way to make some headlines and be a big dog if you want to run for governor or whatever someday, investigating this thing. And it's serious enough that his guy told us go to the inspector general. Like, it isn't like they can pass that up. But nobody, not Micah, not Braun, not Rokita, not anybody will touch this. You got a theory on that?
Money. I think they're all spooked. They're worried about not getting a certain amount of money. I mean, I'd like to go in this like tinfoil hat theory that some George Soros Foundation thing, but I think it just boils down to they don't want to rock the boat. They want to make sure all that campaign cash is going on because elections will be here in no time, and they just want to make sure they keep the flow going.
So you subscribe to the same theory that I subscribe to, which is that the people that are funding India, the trips, et cetera, they're giving to other politicians, and these politicians say, look, if that gets exposed, they're going to cut off the cash to me, too.
Yeah, not only that, but particularly that, but we don't see the campaign reports until next year or when they're starting to run again, so we don't know. I mean, I did just see Diego got like $12,000 from the dealership last month, so good for him. He's really building that $1 billion war chest for when he runs in a convention.
And do you think that's why he reimbursed himself? Because he didn't want the actual name to show up on the campaign report?
Or do you think he actually did reimburse himself?
I'm 50-50 right now on if he actually did reimburse himself. If he did, it might have come off the campaign report, but we won't see it for a little bit.
Yeah. All right, find him at Indy Reporter, Indy_reporter_. If you want to keep up to date on Indiana politics and government, these guys are great. They move very swiftly.
Do you have anything that you want to tease that you're working on right now?
Oh, we're working on the IEDC stuff for sure.
Well, that's great.
That's a constant, perpetual work.
And these guys are awesome because they move swiftly. What do you guys call yourself? The Weaponized
Autism Research Team, WART.
That's what you guys are. And they move very swiftly, and they're not bound by the standards of other professional organizations such as us, so they can put
things up. It is great having all the freedoms that we do.
Yeah. Steve Whitmer, thank you.
Thank you.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What's next in the Trump and Musk feud? We've got cloudy skies at 72 in the Circle City. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:32. President Trump and Elon Musk locked into a war of words as Musk continues to voice his displeasure with the president's big, beautiful bill. But after tensions boiled over yesterday, where do things go from here?
The lowest blow came from Musk. He said, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. The president eventually said, the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's government subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. Accusations about being on the Epstein list also flew around. The closest thing to a detente so far was Musk writing, "You're not wrong," to billionaire Bill Ackman, who wrote, "I support Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and they should make peace for the benefit of our great country. We are much stronger together than apart."
Fox's Peter Doocy reporting at the White House. He says Trump is either planning on getting rid of or selling off his red Tesla that Musk gifted him. Several leading Trump administration officials will be heading to China for trade talks next week. Speaking at the White House Friday, White House trade advisor Peter Navarro says the meeting was set up following a phone chat Thursday between President Trump and China's president. Under a deal struck in May, the U.S. lowered tariffs imposed on goods from China from 145% down to 30%. And the U.S. economy adding 139 jobs in May, beating expectations for the third straight month. The unemployment rate stayed unchanged at 4.2%. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
My name's Craig Landers. I'm a union laborer for Local 120, and I'm a member of the Veteran Steering Committee and been retired for 7 years.
For members of the Laborers International Union of North America, giving back is part of their commitment to the Indy community.
I like to help veterans and family downtown. Part of the building burnt down that housed the veterans that lived there. So we donated money to help out. They lost everything they had. I mean, they didn't have much, but they lost what they did have.
When the Indy community needs help, LIUNA steps up.
People bring in clothes and shoes and food. We had a couple car shows and donated the proceeds to the Veteran Suicide Prevention.
This is Chris Bricky, Business Manager of Labor's Local 120. While all our members are skilled, highly trained men and women, we are also your friends, neighbors, Little League coaches, and volunteers here in Indy.
Pretty good to help them guys out. That's a good feeling to help people out.
We build Indy for good jobs and stronger communities. We are LIUNA Local 120.
Gotta love summertime. It's for enjoying outdoor music and vacations, and our pals at AAA Hoosier Motor Club can help you save on both. AAA is now the official travel partner of Ruoff Music Center, and AAA members going to enjoy some big-time benefits. Early entry into concerts, access to the AAA Premier Lounge. Can't wait to go see Chris Stapleton this summer.
Concerts at Ruoff, always a good time, always a fun time. Same with going on a vacation. And AAA members save with access to hotel discounts, rental car discounts, and a lot more, along with complimentary travel planning. Plus, if you run into trouble on the road, AAA has you covered. Flat tire, dead battery, run out of gas. AAA is there 24/7, 365, no matter where your travels take you. So do yourself a favor. Join AAA today. AAA.com, 844-GO-AAA-GO, or stop by your local AAA office.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell Groom's Cake Ice Cream is renewing its vows on the frozen aisle. Milk chocolate ice cream with chocolate cake pieces, chocolate-coated strawberry hearts, swirls of strawberry sauce, and chocolate icing. See you at the reception.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell Ice Cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun, brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
All right, so I think we got a real problem with how our lawmakers view themselves and how they view drunk driving in the state of Indiana. And
They think everything's fine with how it's going.
so obviously we broke over the weekend the Mike Bohachik story, state senator who was detained in January for OWI. His blood test, because he refused the field test, was
283,
which is almost 4 times the legal limit. He had food all over himself. He was not following commands. I mean, the guy could have killed somebody very easily. We're very lucky that nobody died. Clearly has a serious issue with alcohol and a drinking problem, and yet was able to avoid any sense of scrutiny, including it being available to the public because of, and by the way, he was allowed to drive his car for the past 5 months, while you would have lost your license if you refused the breathalyzer, because he's a lawmaker. And he's shielded by some obscure constitutional provision dating back to the foundation of the foundation of the state, that does not allow lawmakers to be charged, arrested during the legislative session.
Right. So the incident happened on January 24th. Charges weren't filed until May, and it was only made public in June.
So you have a guy voting
a couple days ago
on your behalf, no matter where you live, because they vote to affect all 7 million people, who has a serious drinking problem, is incredibly deceitful and dishonest based on he hid it from the public. It's not like he came out and said to the public, I did it, I'm sorry, I'm going to get help. He continued to be voting on your behalf while highly leveraged, because Merritt told us, Jim Merritt, he had a conversation with Bohachik, and Bohachik said he told the entire Republican caucus.
Correct.
They didn't tell anybody.
Right.
Well, I mean, they told people, but they didn't come out and make any sort of public statement because they were leveraging the guy.
Right.
And
vote the way we want, or that's information that could be used against him.
And the reality of this is he would still be avoiding public scrutiny if I hadn't broke the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to give him my weekend to prove what a scumbag this guy was. And I'm on the verge of doing it again. So let's update everybody on, it was brought to my attention yesterday, which pretty much I was close to ironclad of evidence as you could have. You have seen the evidence. You are aware of what I'm talking about. That a now sitting state representative was allegedly involved in an OWI in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And this was hidden from public scrutiny because of an error. Now, how that error happened, it's very convenient that this error happened, but it has prevented him from the public scrutiny, which this OWI allegedly happened while he was running for public office.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of evidence that shows it is this person. But I go through a process here. Because when we do stories, this is why we get these things right. We go through the process, we check, we double check, we source, we double source, which I've done on this.
And then, in many cases, give the person an opportunity to come out with a statement.
That's right. So I emailed his office. I did not get a response. I called the number of the guy. I got an auto response. You didn't get any response from him. I got the auto, we have received your email. If this is an emergency or whatever, call this guy. Yeah. Well, this seems like it's pretty important to me. I'll call this guy. The guy answered. He was very nice. He gave me another guy. He said, I'm not the guy. Mm-hmm. No, the email said he was the guy. He said, I'm not the guy. Here's the guy you call. I called that guy. Casey, Landon were both in the room for this conversation. It was as though the Grim Reaper, he had just found out that the Grim Reaper was at his door, this poor kid, when I said, it's Rob Kendall from WIBC Radio. He said, yes, I received your inquiry. And?
Yeah, say more words.
Like I'm asking, is this the guy? It's a very simple yes or no question. And he goes, well, I've passed. This is the same thing I got with Bohachik.
Right.
And his communications person. I have passed your inquiry on to the representative.
Mm-hmm.
And
meaning, I don't want to deal with this.
And so I said, so you have no comment. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a comment right now. Mm-hmm. And he'll make a comment if he wants to at some point. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
So Casey, if I walked up to you, Casey, let's just, I'll do.
Are we gonna role play?
Rob, ask me the following question. Rob, on June 22nd of 2018, were you pulled over, arrested, detained for OWI?
Rob, on June 22nd of 2018, were you pulled over or arrested for OWI?
No, absolutely not, Casey. Okay. That is 100% false. I don't know where you got that. I'd be happy to take a look at whatever supposed evidence you have, but that is absolutely categorically untrue. I totally deny that.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be the statement that you would make? Mm-hmm. Not, I've passed this on. Or even if he doesn't want to make the statement, you tell, because this dude certainly knows who I am. You tell that MFer absolutely not, and he can blah, 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 blah. Instead, all we get is, I've passed your inquiry on to the representative.
As he feels the walls closing in.
So, because I know nothing would make these people more mad than me to break this story, and I mean, I want him to come clean. That's all I want. Like, I want clarification. And by the way, I've emailed the prosecutor. Oh, this is the other part of this that's super weird. So I called the prosecutor in question that's on this document, and I said, look, there's an error here that seems pretty obvious, but I would like you to comment on this. Can you comment, just so I know this is the same person? This all seems very obvious to me. Maybe a typo, blah, blah, blah. And the woman on the other end goes, well, who are you with? And I said, WIBC Radio. And she goes, well, you're going to have to email that inquiry. We don't respond to media inquiries over the phone. I'm not asking for the guy's social security number. I'm simply asking so I can report. I can do my job, which I've been told by the lieutenant governor to do. Do my job. Report the news.
Right, exactly.
I'm trying to just stay in my lane. Do my job.
Well, in their defense, maybe they didn't want to be misquoted or something.
Well, it's just
why they just wanted it in writing.
Well, the Porter County guy with Bohachik was like, Sure, absolutely. What would you like to know?
Different office, different standards.
So I emailed, got no response.
Mm-hmm.
I emailed the place. They said, "Oh, this prosecutor will respond to you."
So you did what they asked you to do. You emailed.
Yes, no response.
Oh, okay.
And then I just emailed again. I'll let you know if I get a response.
Mm-hmm.
I'm half tempted next hour just to put it out there because this is the evidence that's in front of me. The evidence ain't going to change.
Right.
Other people are reporting this because they know I have it and it's gotten out what I have.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll debate this during the top of the hour because this guy clearly ain't going to come clean about it. So
should you go with it or not?
I don't know. I mean, my part is like, I just want the guy to say, is this me or not? And if it's not me, how are all of these things pointing to it being you?
Right.
Like, is there someone impersonating you? How are these things happening that are you? I don't know. All right, let's take a break because Hammer's not with us today. He's got some appointment he's got to be at. We'll play this Jim Lucas audio when we come back.
He talks about you.
Oh, this guy is.
You're always on his
This guy
mind.
is just gross. We'll play it next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, they hate each other, they're at war, it's all terrible. Oh, wait, none of this actually matters. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PATH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PATH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PATH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at We Grow Hair Indie. You know, the weather is getting warm and you're going to be outside this summer and maybe you want to have a little more confidence when you're out with friends and family this year. If that's you, want to put a little more hair on the top of your head, do what I did. Call the fine folks at We Grow Hair Indie. Here's how this simple operation works. You call today, 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Schedule a totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. And then Darren and the gang, top-notch dudes, going to take a look, give you some suggestions on how to get your confidence back. From there, you take it. You're in total control. In the meantime, see some other people who have made the choice to get their confidence back by going to We Grow Hair Indie. Call today, 317-522-2995, or check it out on the web. That's how you can see for yourself with no one hassling you, no obligation. WeGrowHairIndie.com. WeGrowHairIndie.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling. Owner James Swindle says competitors focused on revenue typically fail.
I've been doing this 31 years in Indianapolis, and I've worked for other companies, and one day we're how many customers did we take care of, and then the new owners come in, and it's how much revenue did we produce today. As soon as the talking point changes, the customers see the difference, they feel the difference, and they know the difference. We're not that. Our focus is always take care of the customer.
See the difference by going to PricePointComfort.com. Price Point Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
I will never forget the day we found out my brother needed a heart transplant. Sure, you hear about people needing an organ sometimes, but it doesn't feel real until you're the one waiting. I tell you, we're just thankful. God answered our prayers. But my brother wouldn't be alive today without that transplant. That's why I signed up to be an organ donor at the BMV, because I want to be the answer to someone else's prayers.
Sign up to be an organ donor. Say yes the next time you're at the BMV.
Join WIBC this Saturday for the Home and Garden Show live from 9 to 1 at Sullivan Hardware at 71st and Keystone for the Remembering Rita Barbecue from 10 to 2, honoring Rita Sullivan and benefiting the Alzheimer's Association. Good food, good company, and a chance to make a difference.
Okay, so we got to play this audio from traditional repeated winner of Dumbass of the Day, Jim Lucas, state representative from Seymour, that he did with Abdul. Because Lucas knows a lot about DUI because, of course, he did the DUI. Jim Lucas, state representative Seymour, did the DUI. He drove through the barricade. He fled the scene. He hid the car. He lied to the cops. I mean, he's good at not only committing the crime, but trying to run from the crime.
Correct.
So deception, deflection. Jim Lucas is a master at those things. So Abdul, when we caught Bohachik, and he had to come clean, called Lucas and said, would you be willing to talk about this given your experience? And this interview is a fascinating insight into how these guys really do think that this is no big deal, that it's just a blip on their radar, that in many ways we're the bad guys for calling them out or reporting on it. So listen to this. So the Bohachik we've had 5 months for the facts to come out. The reason the facts haven't come out is Bohachik hid behind this shield that he can't be charged during the session.
Right.
And by the way, the facts that are with the what do they call it? Probable cause affidavit or whatever it's called. It's pretty clear the guy was drunk out of his mind, unless you think this cop is just lying. And by the way, Nikki Kelly told us on air, one journalist told her Bohachik was on a plane bragging about it. Remember that?
Right. She did mention that, didn't she?
Okay, so here's Jim Lucas saying, even though the facts had 5 months to come out, and they're not all out because Bohachik hid it, and we have all the facts in the arresting document, he says we got to wait for the facts to come out.
The sad part is, being in the public eye like this, more often than not, and we see this is a sad part of society today, is so many people want the gotcha story before the facts come out. And the facts still aren't out on this, to the best of my knowledge. So until then, I would like for people to just, call a timeout and give this issue some space and let the facts come out and let it play out as it should.
5 months of space isn't enough. We need a little bit more. The facts have come out. He blew a 2.8, or he didn't blow it. He refused the breathalyzer.
Sir.
His BAC was 0.283.
Mr. Lucas, this is why you are repeatedly the winner of the Dumbass of the Day award. The facts are out in the document. The document was hidden because of his status as a lawmaker. Okay, so then Abdul asked Lucas if lawmakers should be able to hide behind this shield that prevented the facts from coming out on Bohachik, and here's what Lucas had to say about that.
Laws are made for a purpose. Laws are made for a purpose. There's a reason behind that, and I think that is a valid reason. Elected officials are elected by their local communities to go to either the city or the county or the state or even at the federal level to represent them. And that is something that, our government, our form of government is very serious, and that we have to have representation at, in this case, the State House. So we have to do everything reasonable to make sure that that representation continues. Now, there are instances, where that elected official, if they do something egregious, so egregious, actions need to be taken. But at what point are those actions considered not egregious enough that where they continue with representation, or so egregious that, the authorities need to step in?
So in his mind, blowing or blooding,
right?
because you refused to blow, 3.5 times, almost 4 times the legal limit of intoxication.
It's not egregious.
That's not egregious enough. So Jim Lucas is clearly very sorry about what he did. Oh, also, they're too important to be arrested. The work they do during the session is too important to be. This is the takeaway. They're too important to be arrested, but it wasn't too important for professional office hopper Aaron Houchin to quit in the middle of session.
Right in the middle.
To run for Congress. Aaron Houchin, who is now a congresswoman in Indiana, quit as a state senator in the middle of session to go run for Congress. It wasn't some family crisis. It wasn't a health issue. She was open about it. I'm running for Congress, and this is interfering in my run for Congress. So you're too important to be arrested for having a blood alcohol content 3.5 times the legal limit. You're too important for that, but you're not too important that you can just quit and go run for Congress.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's how Jim Lucas and these people view themselves and their job. If we want to quit for our own benefit, that's fine. But if we would have to quit because, we were held to account for something like blowing 3.5 times the legal limit, Well, you can't have any of that. And last, Casey.
Okay.
But certainly not least, as always, it's never their fault. It's my fault,
Of course
Casey,
it is.
that this gets exposed to you people.
Yes.
It's not as bad as you think. It's my fault
Sure it is.
that you feel the way about these people and this stuff that you do.
It's just a horrible evening on my part, and I made some horrible decisions, and I screwed up. I owned it. I never denied responsibility for it. And I abided by everything that the court ordered. And people say, I got a sweetheart deal. That's, again, learn the facts. Learn the facts of the situation. Stop listening to shock jocks in the media that make their living off of getting people riled up. Learn the facts and then make your decisions based on those facts that you learn.
You were always on my mind. You were always on my mind. He can't do an interview without thinking about me with somebody else.
You're a shock jock.
Okay, well, here are the facts of Jim Lucas's arrest, which the arrest itself is a thing. But it's the fact, Mr. Lucas, that you did avoid or tried to. You're as bad a criminal as you are a lawmaker, which means you did try to avoid accountability. That's why everybody was so mad. You fled the scene.
Yeah, I did.
You hid the car. You fibbed to the cops. He acts like it's not all on body cam, so we can't see this, or the internet doesn't exist, and you can look these things up. I didn't make that up. You made that thing up.
Right.
You lied to the cops, fibbed to the cops, tried to mislead the cops. You tried to hide the vehicle. You fled the scene. And then he acts like, I took full responsibility. You took full responsibility once you had no other choice.
Once you were caught. Yes, after the news broke. He's trying to white out history.
And it's always, you notice with all of these people, whether it's looking into Diego or Bohacek or the stuff with Lucas or the stuff I'm looking into now, I'm always the bad guy. You notice this? It's always my fault because I tell you the stuff that's going on. Does this sound familiar, Casey? That the guy who tells you what's going on and is consistent somehow becomes the bad guy in the whole equation, not the people who are actually doing the bad stuff.
Right. So Jim Lucas is trying to discuss his experience, and he can't not bring you up while doing it. So in a way, he is remaining the victim because that is very powerful to him. It's something he can control. It's being weaponized as a personality trait.
And the bigger story here is whether or not, this is why OWI is such a low-level offense in this state, because these guys know if it's a misdemeanor, they cannot be arrested, they cannot be detained, they cannot be prosecuted. And so it's this way. How can you blow? Look, it's all bad, right? Okay, but there's a difference between blowing a .09 and .283. There's a massive difference between those two things. And how can 3.5 times the legal limit, where you are endangering yourself and everyone around you, where you're covered in food and you're stumbling out of a Panda Express and you can't even follow simple commands? How is that not a felony?
Plus, we have to update everybody in regards to the Senator Bohacek's case. All the judicial officers have recused themselves, and this after 3 judges have already recused themselves.
All right, you and I got to have a long conversation during the break about whether I just go through this story and what I got, because I think this is as far as I'm going to get for right now, and I've got the facts. I can present the facts, since this guy ain't going to fess up. So we'll decide during the break whether we want to go forward or not.
Reveal or not. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The month of May is raced by at Miss M's Home and Garden and Sundown Gardens. JMV here. The June sales are on now. Shop the great high-quality products at both garden centers and save big this week. 20% off annuals and 30% off pottery at both locations. If you're shopping for poly patio furniture, visit Miss M's in Bargersville. For 20% off their patio furniture, Miss M's on State Road 135 in Bargersville. That's Sundown Gardens at 186th and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. Tell them JMV sent you.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
At Puccini's, we think less screen time and more quality mealtime is the better way. Eat, talk, and dine with less blue light glaring or talking heads blaring while enjoying great food at a reasonable price is the Puccini's way. Dine in for hot, delicious food prepared fresh and to your liking. If you need anything, we're right there so you'll leave full and happy. We have delivery options and carryout, but let's start dining in together again the way we all used to enjoy so much.
Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's.
Trust employee owned. B Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to be.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, what those pesky Pacers did in Oklahoma City last night, and what Indiana Senator Jim Banks thinks about the budget bill up for debate in the Senate. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Great jobs numbers. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump posted that along with the stock markets up big time, with the Dow gaining more than 400 points. Though hiring was down slightly from April, Fox's Janika Solo reports.
Job growth was stronger than expected last month. There were 139,000 new jobs created in May. Economists were predicting 130,000. The unemployment rate held at 4.2% as expected.
Now, the president also posted earlier another call for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates, writing a full point reduction would be rocket fuel for the economy. The day after the big feud between President Trump and Elon Musk, who just finished leading the Doge effort to slash federal spending.
I'm told Musk might talk to some White House aides today, but nobody here is tracking a Musk-Trump call.
Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House. Musk, the Tesla CEO, seemed open to cooling off the feud in some posts last night on X, but
we can report this morning that the Tesla President Trump bought for staff to use as part of a demo on the South Lawn to help Tesla is going to be either given away or sold off. And that Elon Musk was wearing thin on President Trump for about a month.
The Trump administration is asking the Supreme Court to intervene after a federal appeals court has refused to undo a judge's ruling last week that blocked the administration from carrying out plans to dismantle the Department of Education after a challenge from 20 Democrat-led states. Mohammed Solomon will appear in federal court today, facing a hate crime charge for Sunday's Boulder, Colorado terror attack, the firebombing that burned demonstrators out supporting the hostages in Gaza.
Yesterday in state court, Solomon was charged with 118 counts, some of which include attempt to commit murder, use of explosive devices, assault in the first and third degrees, and animal cruelty.
Fox's Jeff Paul outside the court in Denver. Manhunts continue for two fugitives still on the run 3 weeks after the New Orleans jailbreak, and for the man who escaped an Arkansas prison 12 days ago, and for the father in Washington state wanted for murdering his 3 young daughters. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
We've seen this a few times before. Cloudy, 74 in Indianapolis. We'll get up to 80 today for a high. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. The reaction from inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse as Tyrese Halliburton lifted the Pacers over the Thunder with a last-second shot. 0.3 seconds is all the Pacers led the game for as Indiana steals game one, 111-110 in Oklahoma City. Halliburton has been on an unprecedented run in these playoffs.
I'm obviously confident in my ability and feel like if I can get to that spot, I feel very comfortable in there. Just it's a shot I've worked on a million times, and I'll work on a million times more. So, we just have confidence in that shot.
He finished the game with 14 points. Game 2 is Sunday back in OKC. A dozen felonies are now in the face of a Muncie couple who police say would abuse their 10-year-old son with cruel punishments. Officers say Adam and Melody Greenwood are each facing 13 counts, including neglect of a dependent resulting in serious bodily injury and battery. An investigation revealed that the two would starve their son and have him physically assaulted by his own siblings. It would be the largest tax increase for you and your family. That's what Indiana Senator Jim Banks says is at stake if President Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill doesn't make it through.
Your taxes will go up
on average $3,000 a family if the big beautiful bill doesn't extend the Trump tax cuts on individuals and small businesses. We have a moral obligation to pass this bill because of what it does.
Banks tells WIBC's Hammer and Nigel the 2017 tax cuts made corporate rates permanent, but cuts for families and small businesses are about to expire. The new bill to extend them just passed the House and is now in the Senate. And the 27th annual Strawberry Festival in Kokomo is taking place today.
I think what makes the Strawberry Festival special in Kokomo is that it's truly by the community for the community.
Misty Nicely says it's grown from a tiny gathering to a full-day event with proceeds going to revitalizing downtown Kokomo. Admission is free, and it runs from now until 9 this evening. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Pat Sullivan here. Have you heard about impact-resistant shingles? They're the smart choice for protecting your home from harsh weather. And here's something you may not know. Most insurance companies offer discounts on your premiums if you install them. At the Michaelis Corporation, we offer top-tier Category 3 and Category 4 impact-resistant shingles that stand up to the toughest storms. From hail to high winds, these shingles offer a 30-year warranty that stands by their durability. And when a weather event hits, don't worry. Let Michaelis perform a free inspection of your property to ensure everything is in top condition. We don't inspect the roof at ground level. Our experts will safely climb onto the roof to check for damages. Roof, gutter, siding, windows are all inspected for storm damage. Michaelis Corporation provides over 35 years of disaster restoration. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. 844-FIXED-INDY. That's 844-FIXED-INDY.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
All right, okay. I didn't want to do it, but you talked me into it.
It's on me now, huh?
I wasn't going to do it. I was going to hold off for another couple days, and then you talked me into
Sure,
the big reveal this hour.
So we're going to announce it today.
Yeah, so if you missed throughout the show today, I've told you that, and by the way, look, you guys down the street from us did this to yourselves because y'all have screwed the people over long enough on your fake, phony, bullcrap moral high horse, and the last straw was the property tax deal. You lied to us, deceived us, screwed us for the last time. And I said, all right, if I ain't operating in the system, I'm operating outside of the system.
Yeah.
And y'all really ain't going to like that. And obviously, we have lots of people, tens of thousands, 50,000 people listening a day to this program. And they have just flooded me with information, things, and it's so much I can't possibly get to all of it. But one of the first things on it's a stack. It's just a stack at this point, was the allegations involving Mike Bohachik and a lot of stuff on that, and that proved to be exactly true. And then over the last couple of days, a new set of birdies have said, there's this guy. This guy has that's in the State House, had one of these allegedly in 2018 and managed, interestingly enough, to escape the scrutiny of the public on this, and been looking into it the last really hardcore 24 hours, and seems really ironclad stuff. And then some fine people have sent me the alleged mugshot of the individual. It's amazing. Nobody listens to this show, but then bing, 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 bing. So I feel pretty good now. Next segment, we'll talk about what happened, I believe it was June 22nd of 2018, and how that person has escaped scrutiny. Because, and this is why, Casey, I've given him every opportunity, just like with Bohachik, to man up, own it himself, be honest with the public, because you escaped, just like with Bohachik, you escaped honesty. In this case, with this guy, it appears for years.
Accountability, yeah.
And the public deserves to know who's representing them. Personal lives are personal lives, unless your poor choices are on such display when you're lording over other people.
The interesting thing about this one, though, I think it raises more questions.
It does. No, it totally does.
A lot of questions,
And we'll get it, because the system is the issue. The system is broken beyond belief, by which, not only Bohachik, but this guy, that they can evade public scrutiny. The public deserves to know who these people are that are representing them and how they're behaving, because they dictate how you live your life. The money they take from you, where that money goes, and they sit in these phony baloney bullcrap pious seats of holiness. And the way they treated our listeners during the property tax issue, and we know so much. You don't know how this works. We're the smartest people in every room. Well, then you can't say that and then also go, but we also make mistakes. So you have talked me into it. Landon will vouch for this. I was adamant. I was like, Casey, I don't think we should do this. And then Casey was like, you have the mugshot right there.
Yeah, you got to run with it now. So we'll do that coming up.
Next segment, we'll talk about the long and winding tale that brought me to this new reveal.
Okay.
All right.
I think we need to mention that today is the 81st anniversary of D-Day. Reminds us of the unparalleled bravery of the American troops and our allies and what they did.
The greatest, take Christ out of the equation, the greatest sacrifice in human history. The greatest willful sacrifice in human history was what happened at D-Day if you take Christ out of the equation, because those people knew what they were going into. And you knew if you were first guy out on that first line of people, you were likely not coming back. And you think about the selflessness of those individuals compared to the selfishness of the people who represent us today and the stuff we're talking about now, compared to those people who asked for nothing. And many of them never even got proper burials. They never got to come home. They never got the proper honors they deserved. Their mom got some flag. Like, we're not even living in the same country anymore. And those people should never be forgotten, Casey. Those people should never be forgotten for what they did for this country.
They certainly did ensure freedom across Europe and parts of the world. So it's a good reminder to remember them today.
Yeah, absolutely. And veterans, period. And one of the things, we talk about this a lot, one of the great tragedies of the second part of the 20th century is how the Vietnam veterans were treated. Because just like the people who went to World War II, they were not the bad guys. They were drafted, they were called to serve their country. And they did it. And we really never... Attitudes have changed somewhat, but by then it was so far gone that it wasn't like people were out throwing parades for Vietnam vets. And Vietnam veterans never got the respect they deserved or the thank yous that they deserved. And I just would ask that when you meet a veteran, whether they're a World War II, the few that are still with us, or it's a Vietnam veteran or an Iraq War veteran, thank those people because they went to serve their country and do what they were charged to do. And we have the freedoms and liberties that we have today because of those people. And I know that's something that's very close to you, given your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Always think veteran. So Donald Trump has dismissed the idea of talking to Elon Musk. He called him the man who lost his mind. He said he's not particularly interested in reconnecting. Of course, this feud lit X on fire yesterday, started after Musk was slamming Trump and the big, beautiful bill. And now Elon Musk has even backed calls for Trump to be impeached.
Well, the problem with Trump is he changes his mind more often than he changes his underwear. And there is no moral backing for Trump. There is no line in the sand for Trump. There is no take a stand for Trump. He'll always negotiate whatever's in the best interest of Trump. So if he believes at some point repairing this relationship or playing nice with Elon is better for him, he will do that. So I think you have to take all of this. Now, I don't think it's a work. Some people are like, oh, they're working everybody and they're working me. I don't think that. What Trump is doing is costing Tesla a lot of money. Musk would not do that. I think this is very genuine. And once again, look, sometimes, and this hits home. It hits personally for me. A lot of this Trump and Musk stuff you've got to be willing to be the bad guy so that people will look at what's going on and open people's eyes to what's going on. And sometimes that means you'll lose people who you thought were your friends. Sometimes it'll mean you'll lose people who felt like family to you. But we were talking about the Patriots at D-Day. Think about what those people were willing to give up. If you're not willing to sacrifice some personal relationships for the country, look at those guys. Those that were lucky enough to come home, came home in body bags. If you aren't willing to stand up and feel some personal pain to make this country a better place, which is what Elon Musk is trying to do, then you got to check yourself. And that's how I've always felt. About this, and I'm going through that right now, and so I can understand all this and relate to it, and it's not a good feeling inside. But if you're about what's right, you got to be willing to take on everybody, including the people who you've previously been aligned with or whatever, if they're not holding up their end of the bargain.
Now, at one point, Bill Ackman tweeted out yesterday, he said, I support Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and they should make peace for the benefit of our great country. We're much stronger together than apart. And then Elon had commented, you're not wrong. It almost seemed like at the end of the day yesterday, Elon Musk was trying to soften on some of his harsher words. But then this morning, Trump is still saying, no, he's crazy. He's still floating the idea of revoking Musk's federal contracts and subsidies. And it's now being reported that Trump may give away or sell his red Tesla. J.D. Vance been relatively quiet throughout all of this. He posted some kind of vague support for Donald Trump, but he didn't directly address any of it. There was the picture that went around of J.D. Vance sitting next to Theo Vaughn, which looked to be like a very smoke-filled room.
What?
And it somebody had said, they sent J.D. Vance over to his friend's house when mom and dad were fighting. And this is the guy that seems to be stuck in the middle a little bit.
There's a lot of people who are very upset about what's going on in the country right now. And my advice to them is, until you're willing to lose it all, this is why I've never valued stuff, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
I very early on, I trained myself that stuff means nothing, because stuff is how people leverage over other people. If you don't, then blah, blah, blah. And if there is no, if you don't, then
they've got nothing on you.
They don't have anything over you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if they came in tomorrow and said, Rob, you're out of here, I will be able to say, and I was thinking about this last night, how many people can say they lived their childhood dream, even for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
I've lived mine for years here, and I have nothing but happy memories, and I would be sad that I don't get to talk to the listeners every day, but I'd be financially just as fine as if I was running a Wendy's somewhere or something, right? I mean, so you've got to take away the leverage that these people have over you. And a guy like Elon Musk, they don't have leverage over because he is so rich that it doesn't matter what you do to him. And while none of us will be as rich as Elon Musk, if you take away the leverage, well, I won't appoint you to this board, or I won't appoint you to this county party function, or I won't vote for you for blah, blah, blah. Like, take it away from them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Fred Krueger. If you turn your back on them and they don't exist, they lose their power. Speaking of losing the power.
Yeah.
You want to do it?
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk about June 22nd, 2018 when we come back. How about that?
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The NBA Finals about to begin. Rebound, Indiana. 8 seconds to go.
The Pacers with a chance to win it.
The Pacers are not going to call a timeout.
Final seconds.
Halliburton with 3.
Halliburton looking.
Driving with 2.
Pulls off, jump shot.
And hitting.
It's good. It's good.
With 3/10 of a second to go.
Game 2 of the NBA Finals.
How many more times?
Sunday night starting at 8 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, guys, if you got kids, listen up. Summer is here, and I know you're thinking, like, what am I going to do with my kids all summer long? Here's a great opportunity. Vacation Bible School at Life Church. June 9th through the 13th, all 4 of Life Church's Central Indiana locations. That's Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Kids ages 4 through 5th grade. You've got Bible stories, games, snacks, and so much more. Learn more about Vacation Bible School, June 9th through the 13th. LifeChurchIN.com.
Hammer and Nigel here for Window Nation. Prepare for the summer heat with energy-efficient windows from Window Nation. Window Nation windows are built to keep your house cool during the hot summer days, and Window Nation has some of the best energy-efficient windows on the market. Their windows frequently outperform and outlast some of the more expensive guys. Window Nation windows are assembled right here in America. Check out this deal. Right now, when you buy 4 windows, you'll get 4 for free. For 2 years, you won't have to worry about a down payment, interest, or monthly payments. That's right, you don't pay anything until 2027. And if that's not enough, get a free entry door when you buy a house of windows. But you have to mention Hammer and Nigel sent you. You don't get the deal without saying Hammer and Nigel sent you. 866-90-NATION. Schedule a fast, free estimate right now with Window Nation or visit windownation.com.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Trust employee owned. B Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to be.
All right, let's talk about June 22nd, 2018, and how one state lawmaker, it appears, has avoided scrutiny from you for many, many years in the system. This is the bigger story now. We're seeing it with Bohachik, and now we're seeing it with this guy. It appears to be seeing it with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep in mind, we have asked for clarification on this, both electronically, which his staff has acknowledged they received. They had no comment on it, and they said he has been given the information, and he has no comment at this time either. This is very important because the system appears highly broken.
Yeah.
And that is the bigger conversation. Not this guy. We're going to tell you about this guy. But whether it's this dude or Bohachik or whatever, it is the system itself, and you should be outraged that this stuff is allowed to take place, that avoids people who make decisions for you to avoid proper public scrutiny. Everyone can be redeemed. Everything like that is these things are forgivable. It's not about trying to say that it's not. Everybody makes mistakes. But these people should be held to the highest scrutiny possible because they get to tell you what to do. They sit in judgment of you every single day. And when something happens and the system, mistake, on purpose or otherwise, allows you to avoid scrutiny and you're not owning it, that is a deliberate deception of the public at large.
So you are forced to pay taxes. You have to do this, and then they determine how that money is going to be spent.
Yeah.
And part of that is their salary.
Okay, so these are court documents that I am in possession of. Mm-hmm. This has been backed up by publicly available information that anybody can find or see or request. So Bo Baird is a state representative from Greencastle. And he has been the state representative. He was elected in 2018. His father is Jim Baird, who was previously a state representative, held that seat, is now a United States congressman.
Correct.
Jim Baird was elected to Congress at the same time Bo Baird was elected to the House. So Jim Baird had the seat. He gives up the seat to run for Congress, runs for Congress while Bo Baird is running for State House. Does that make sense?
So it's pretty much Jim Baird was elevating himself,
That's right.
And his son took his spot.
Okay, very good. So, according to documents from the Tippecanoe County court system, which again anyone can look up online and see for themselves, by the way, this is actually really important. Bo Baird's legal name is Jason Bo Baird. His first name is Jason, even though he goes by Bo, and the average person would not know that unless you knew that family. So on June, according to Tippecanoe County court documents, June the 22nd, 2018, a Jason Bean, B-E-A-N Baird, was pulled over for OWI, and I believe the allegation is he was near or leaving a gentleman's club in Tippecanoe County.
Okay.
Now, the address, because Bo Baird's name is not Jason Bean Baird. However, and this is how he was able to avoid scrutiny, is this misprinted name into the system, right? If indeed this is the same guy. Now, why we would think this is the same guy is the address that is listed on this Tippecanoe County court document matches the address that Jim Baird listed, and you can go this on the Hendricks County election website, that Jim Baird listed on his 2018 run for Congress.
Okay.
So the address of Jason Bean Baird matches the address that Jim Baird was listed at. So I don't know if they were living together or what the situation was, but those addresses match, and the birthday matches the birthday associated with public documents with Bo Baird.
Okay.
So the same guy, a guy with reported to live at the same address as his father is listing, and with an identical birthday, and the name Jason Bean Baird is pulled over for OWI in Tippecanoe County. Now, ultimately, this resulted, I believe, according to these documents, in some sort of suspension of a driver's license, also a probation of some sort. It looks like there's some fines, court costs associated with this. But he's running for State House, if indeed this is him. Now, keep in mind, so we presented this evidence to his office. I said, this is what I'm sitting on before I present this story. Would you like to confirm or deny that this is you? And, of course, if it wasn't you, you would say, get out of here. That's not me. I don't know how this happened. I don't know anybody by this name. And all we got was no comment. And then we got him on the phone. No comment. I've passed the information along to him. So because of some sort of clerical error in the system, the average person, and by the way, multiple people now have sent me, there is a mugshot that exists. It's certainly, you have seen it and compared it to the person that is Bo Baird. He either has a twin or it's the same, or that is the same guy, right? That this guy was able to avoid proper scrutiny, not only while running for public office, if indeed it is him, which it certainly appears it is, and I can't imagine what the explanation that it's not at this point, though we'd love to hear it, which is why we tried to hear it, that he was able to avoid scrutiny while running for public office. And then the entire time he has been a lawmaker, he has been passing laws while clearly he has experience or shown terrible judgment in his own personal existence without any proper scrutiny of that whatsoever.
Okay, now the difference here is that he has not been protected by any constitutional law, no Indiana Constitution law like Bohachik was.
That's right.
You said the date was June 22nd,
2018.
June 22nd, 2018. So this was after the primary.
That's correct.
But before the general election.
That's correct.
Which he did win.
He did. And then ultimately he became.
So he became a state rep.
So the question is, Casey, how does this happen? So a couple of follow-up things. I called the Tippecanoe County Prosecutor's Office. I talked to someone on the phone. I identified myself as a radio broadcaster from Indianapolis, WIBC. I said, all I have a question is this the same guy? Because everything matches this guy other than this name, which the error, by the way, does not appear with the officer. The officer's report the error does not appear. The error appears with the, I believe he's the deputy prosecuting attorney, who that guy is now the lead, the prosecuting attorney in Tippecanoe County, who refers to him as Bean instead of Bo.
So you're talking one letter difference.
So I called very nicely, said, all I'm trying to figure out is this the same guy? I don't have any in-depth questions for you. I don't need any personal information. I just need to know, is this the same guy? Is this a typo, or is there a second guy living at this address? Is this a George Foreman situation
same
where all
birthday.
the kids are named the same? And you know what they told me? Oh, you have to email that because you're the media.
Okay.
Well, what difference does it make whether I email it or not? I just have one question. Is this the guy or not? You have to email that. I emailed.
Yeah.
Received no response.
Of course.
Emailed again. I gave it more time because they made it sound like somebody's monitoring that email account. Still didn't get a response. And so I felt I have no choice at this point, now that multiple people have sent a mugshot, that I have to go forward with this because there's something seriously wrong with our system where these guys keep being able to avoid scrutiny without the public being able to properly weigh in and judge people knowing how they engage, not just in a personal manner, but in a manner that endangers other people. And these guys don't come clean about it.
Right.
What I can't figure out is what it blows my mind, and this is what I keep coming back to. How could you be, I get it's another county than what you represent, but your father's the nominee for Congress in a county that Tippecanoe County is in the district, I believe. You are a nominee for state house, and nobody was like, that's the dude, we should run a story on that, because the case went through the court system. You know, the boxes are checked. This is the sentencing. There was, I believe, a guilty plea, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how did this escape public scrutiny other than this is entered wrong? And then how does that happen? Because he gave I believe he gave a blood draw. So wouldn't they have to have his driver's license and information at that point? So how is this happening where these people can evade scrutiny?
So you got to ask, was it a typo or was it intentional?
This is the bigger, broader question, which is what I was trying to figure out, which makes me very upset that clearly I called, so they would have known a phone call was being placed or that had been placed. I followed up with an email. I was very polite. I said, this is all I'm looking for. I don't get a response. Again, no response. And then it comes back to this thing where we're supposed to police everyone. Remember, that's what we heard from the lieutenant governor, everything. That's your job. And we heard from Braun. You got to go to the school board meetings. You got to go to this. You got to go to that. How do I police everybody, Casey?
Well, and then when you try to, you get completely ghosted or no response. No comment.
That's right. So there are other my case entries. There is that appear to also could be this guy with misspellings. There's one where the address is identical to the address that his dad listed in his congressional run with one digit difference. And the name is spelled wrong again from going back to, I believe, 2007. The last name is misspelled, if indeed it's him, with an address that's one digit off. So it's like, is that him? Because I asked that in my questions to him as well. Is this you? Do you know this guy? How could this keep coming back to this address or something that resembles this address? Greencastle ain't that big. Right?
Yeah.
And then you look at this mugshot, and again, you saw it, you compared to the photo, definitely looks like him, don't it? This guy doesn't look like he's in a very good state during this purported mugshot photo. And yet he was on the road, allegedly. He was out doing the stuff. So again, the question is how are we approving a judicial system, a legal system that is this broken, that high-profile people who are in charge of other individuals are allegedly out doing this stuff, going through the system or being a part of the system, or in the case of Bohacek, not even allowed to enter the system, and the public doesn't get to know about it.
If it is the same person, he won the primary, would he have won the general election? Would he have a seat currently?
Perfect.
Had you known.
Now, my question to Jim Lucas is that a shock jock? Was I a shock jock there? Because I broke the Bohacek story, and that was 100% on. Am I a shock jock here with this? What is a shock jock? Is telling you in the eyes of the lawmakers, because y'all heard it during the property tax thing when you'd send them the emails about how I'm the bad guy in the equation. Am I the bad guy here? Is this shock jock radio? What level am I allowed to hold public officials accountable who get to take my money and tell me how to live my life?
Well, to some people, the truth is shocking.
So there you go. If you're a constituent of this guy, maybe he'll answer you. He would not answer me. Again, the address matches the address his dad was using in a run for Congress. The date of birth matches. The name is identical other than a letter difference. The mugshot certainly looks like this guy. Maybe he'll answer you, because they certainly won't answer me.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Starting the series off right. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Another jaw-dropping come-from-behind win for the Indiana Pacers in these playoffs. They take Game 1 of the NBA Finals on Tyrese Halliburton's last-second shot, 111-110 to beat the Thunder.
It's a total team effort. We had so many guys chip in. Obi was huge off the bench. Miles in the fourth. Andrew Nemhard in the fourth. So many guys stepped up, and just really proud of this group.
Game 2 is Sunday in OKC. A child is dead in Rush County from a house fire Thursday. Deputies there are investigating. A Muncie couple is facing multiple charges of neglect and battery for what police say was abusing their 10-year-old and allowing his siblings to hit him. And Indiana Senator Jim Banks says they have an obligation to pass President Trump's big, beautiful budget bill, or else people's taxes will go up. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are 2 very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. 317-480-4040. That's 317-480-4040.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
High-quality fine jewelry doesn't have to come with a high price tag. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg is changing the game with prices up to 70% lower than what you'd find in those big-name jewelry stores or even those strip mall jewelry stores. They have brand-name watches, stunning fine jewelry, custom designs, all at unbeatable prices. You can browse their expanded selection in the cozy, charming setting of an 1888 farmhouse. Why would you want to pay more when you can get the best for less? Visit PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg today or find them online, pajewelers.jewelry. Their phone number, 317-456-4010.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
The month of May has raced by at Sundown Gardens and Miss M's Home and Garden. Denny Smith here. The June sales are now on. Come shop the great high-quality products at both garden centers and save big this week. It's 20% off annuals and 30% off pottery at both locations. And if you're shopping for poly patio furniture, visit Miss M's in Bargersville for 20% off their patio furniture. Visit Sundown Gardens at 186th Street, Spring Mill Road in Westfield, or Miss M's on State Road 135 in Bargersville.
I'm a proud owner of B Window.
I'm a proud B Window owner.
I'm a proud B Window owner.
When you work with a local, employee-owned home improvement company like B Window, quality comes first because your home improvements are a reflection of our business. And for a limited time, we're extending our employee discount to you, up to 55% off all products and services, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust local, trust employee-owned, trust your home to be.
Trust me. At Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling, our mission is to provide honest assessments and recommendations. We promise you'll never be sold something you don't need.
PricePointComfort.com. They are your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Okay, well, we do have a statement now here from Representative Bo Baird. It took us breaking this story to get one, but we do, and so we want to read that in its entirety. If you missed the last segment of our show today, we put out that it appeared that in 2018, State Representative Bo Baird was arrested and ultimately pled guilty to operating while intoxicated in Tippecanoe County. His father is the congressman, which represents, I still believe, Tippecanoe County's in that district. He is a state rep who took over his dad's seat when he ran for Congress. And this was able to avoid scrutiny because lucky him, there was a clerical error in the entry of his name. And of course, he never fessed up to it. He never said he did it. He never was asked for forgiveness or anything. And it just went undocumented.
Unnoticed.
And so now that we have put it out there, we've received a statement. Again, we want to give him the full credit. This came from his election campaign, by the way. It did not come from his. It's an election-based email address. Committee to Elect Bo Baird, I believe, is the name of the campaign email. So I'll just read it in its entirety so nobody accuses me of changing anything or whatever. Rob, we received your email that was sent to Representative Baird's official office. While in graduate school and before he held public office, Representative Baird was arrested in 2018, resulting in an OWI conviction. A decade prior in 2007, he was arrested, but there were no charges. So we were right on that as well. That entry is him. Below is a statement from Representative Baird. While in graduate school and before holding elected office, I made mistakes. I took full responsibility, complied with all legal obligations, and learned from the experience. I regret those past decisions, but they shaped the person I've become. I've worked hard to earn the trust of my community, and while that chapter is closed, I won't hide from it because accountability matters. Except you did hide from it.
For 7 years.
For 7 years. And the only reason you put that out today is because we broke that story.
Yeah.
And by the way, this guy's been a horse's ass to me and other people for a long time. Remember, he was the guy when the train stuff got shipped over to Greencastle. He was the guy that was all flippant about when the people were all concerned about what was going on, that stuff that was getting dumped out there. Wasn't he the guy that was like all willy-nilly about that? Whatever, dude. Like, thanks for finally owning it. Thanks for finally owning it. Are we supposed to say thank you? Because this is the reoccurring thing, whether it's Lucas or Bohachik or this guy. Lucas only owned it because he got caught. He didn't have a choice. He fled the scene and hid his car. Bohachik told the people in his caucus.
Right.
And then they leveraged who knows what over him.
Right. To have him vote.
Who knows how?
In whatever way they wanted.
And when did he own it publicly? When we broke the story. And now this guy is owning it 7 years later. Would he have been elected to the state house?
Well, that's the big question, because he said this happened before he was in office. Well, he had already won the primary at that point. So it happened between primary and general election. Had you known about this as a voter, would you have selected his name? But because you didn't have that information, he didn't come out, he didn't announce it, he wasn't transparent with it, you were denied pertinent information about who you're going to vote for.
And the bigger question now is, why will this prosecutor not respond to me? Because the same guy who's on the document is the lead prosecutor now out there in Tippecanoe County, according to their website.
So that begs the question, typo or intentional?
Because I have called, all I asked was, is this the same guy? That's it. That's all I want to know. Is this the same guy? And if you'd like, tell me, like, how does this happen, right? I don't think that's a gotcha. I don't think that's because that's where it appears. There's not a peer that I've read on this officer's document that pulled him over. And by the way, I mean, not that there's anything wrong, but I mean, apparently, according to this, he was like leaving a strip club, which again, that's fine. You can do that, but not while you're over the legal limit, right? How does that happen? I'd like to know from this prosecutor, and I've called, and I've emailed again. So if you live up in Tippecanoe County, can hear our voice, and you can get out there. We just want to know how this happens, because that's what allowed him to evade the scrutiny. And the question becomes then, because we're told we're supposed to police everyone. We're told we're supposed to police everyone. How are we supposed to do that? How am I supposed to police my school board and my county council and my town council and Bo Baird and Bohachik and Jim Lucas? Like, where does it end?
And how are you supposed to do that when time and time again we have shown that information is being withheld?
That's right. That's right. And by the way, people be mad at me for putting this out. Bo, you want to hate me? I got this from a bunch of people. A bunch of people. And this is the problem. People were sitting on this because they were afraid, because they were worried about the ramifications. And this is where, so to bring all this full fold, when we're critical of people who aren't leading in positions of power to be able to call people out, to be able to demand investigations or justice. This is why. All I had to do, because I don't care, throw whatever you want at me. There's only 3 people in this world who can cancel me, and they're the upper management of Urban One, right? I ain't running for nothing.
You're right.
Right? And we talked about this with Stephen Whitmer a little bit earlier about how you can oftentimes be far more effective outside the system if you never want to go back into it. All I had to do is put this out there, and people started flooding me with stuff.
Right.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for having the courage. We would have done it, but I'm connected through blah, blah, blah. Or my business is hitched up through blah, blah, blah. Or his dad is the congressman, and he can blah, blah, blah. They have strings over everyone, Casey. That was well known in this community about this thing, apparently. But everybody was like, I don't want to do the legwork or put it out there because this could happen to me or that could happen to me, and it's a little town, and who knows, right?
Why didn't he put it out there?
Well, exactly. Because he knew he could get away with it.
It was on him to put it out there.
He knew he could get away with it because he leveraged who he was and who his old man was.
Right.
That is the only logical answer. And now the bigger question is, what are we going to do about this system that allows this stuff to happen? So when I challenge people like Micah to stand up and call people like Diego out and demand investigations, this is what can happen if you do that, and is why I do this. Because it takes bold people to lead, bold people to be able to take the slings and the arrows. This is why I'm so pissed off about it. This is why I was mad the way I was the other day. This is why I was screaming at him about it. Because he has the ability. Braun has the ability. Rokita has the ability. They're choosing not to use it. Why are we the only people who choose to use? It's not even power. We don't even have any power over anybody. We can't even make it. We can't subpoena people. We can't make them do anything.
Right.
But we feel passionate enough about it to put our lives out there in terms of trying to expose this. Why don't these people who are elected do it?
Because they don't want to lose their place.
That's right.
Somebody asked me the question, why does it feel like these things are being covered up? It feels like it because they are.
Yeah, the biggest question now needs to go to that attorney in Tippecanoe County and go, how did this happen? How did this happen? He's running for State House. I'm sure how did that escape your scrutiny? Did you not see his driver's license? How many other of these people are potentially escaping scrutiny because of clerical errors? The one in 2007 is ridiculous how off that is. This is one letter. The one in 2007 is crazy how much they messed that one up in multiple cases.
Well, he released a statement finally.
Yep.
I wonder if he's feeling relief.
Yeah, maybe he is.
After 7 years.
Because what happens to you? Like Lucas proved, they'll just give you ungodly amounts of money to reelect you if you're a good boy, which Baird is a good boy. And by the way, everybody knows Baird wants to run for his old man's seat when Jim gives it up. Everybody knows that's what he wants to do. And he'll probably get that too. They'll probably put whatever amount of money they have that wouldn't have even mattered. They're just deliberately deceptive and dishonest. He'll get reelected. They'll save him there. He'll run for Congress. They'll put millions of dollars behind him. He'll get elected there.
But now you know.
But now you
have the full picture.
And I'm sure I'll be the bad guy in this somehow, as always.
Probably.
Thank you. Thanks for indulging me, Casey. I'm glad you insisted we put that out there.
Yes. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hey, it's producer Allison reminding you to kick off the weekend today with Hammer and Nigel for, wait for it, Beer Sample Friday. Fun starts at 3 o'clock.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
Summer heat is coming. Will your air conditioner be ready? Don't risk an expensive breakdown. A quick tune-up from B&W catches problems early and keeps your family cool and comfortable. Join thousands of Hoosiers who trust B&W. Call 317-214-0108 or go to bplusw.com today.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
Hi, Jeff Roush for Tom Roush Lincoln. Right now, get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators, up to $8,000 off select 2024 Nautilus, or up to $7,000 off select 2024 Corsair at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Navigator MSRP 105,575, Nautilus MSRP 6195, Corsair MSRP 47,820. Offers going on now. Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
Recovery is a journey, and no one walks it alone. The Supporting Sobriety podcast helps friends and families understand addiction, offer support, and care for themselves along the way. Hosted by Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
You did?
I did.
Publicly?
Yes.
You did that?
Yes.
You out there in the open for everyone?
Why not?
Okay.
What do I care?
That's true. You don't. do you?
No. Somebody in the YouTube chat. When Braun runs for president, will Rob run for governor? No, Rob will never run for anything ever again. Rob will do this until he's shown the door, and then I'll get a nice, fun YouTube show where you can see me. And
where you can really let it fly.
Where I can say all the words I've always wanted to.
Do you ever find you have to police yourself? Yeah, you do.
Well, that's what I always...
It's like a switch for me. I come in the studio and I'm not even tempted to say the dirty words.
Here's the thing. No matter what happens to me, people will be able to find me. And if I went to YouTube, I mean, I'm actually really restrained by being in here.
It's probably a good thing.
Because here's the thing. I work for a corporation, which means they put Casey in charge of everything. And Casey actually dictates the flow of traffic. So I'm actually much more restrained.
Yeah.
I'd probably be a better sleuth or whatever if I was just on YouTube or something. So
maybe.
I mean, I
could
think
be a
I'm
side hustle for you.
much more in line with where if people think it's bad. No. And there's very good people out there who needs to step up and do that. That is not me, and I'll just stay here until they get rid of me, and then I'll run an Arby's by day and do a YouTube show by night. That is my retirement plan.
Hey, speaking of restaurants, I know we've talked about this before, but did you see that Hooters closing 30 locations nationwide? 3 of those include Indiana locations.
No kidding.
Hooters in Greenwood.
They're done.
Done. Yeah, one in Evansville, also one in Lafayette. They're not even listed on the Hooters official website anymore.
Well, I'm not going to say that out loud. That appears to be. Well, we had this conversation, right? The problem Hooters is in is, like, we all know what you're paying for if you go there. It's not because it's a fabulous. This is not St. Elmo.
The wings are top notch.
You know what you're paying for, and the problem is in the world in which all of that is readily available to everyone. You don't really have to pay. I mean,
you don't have to go get wings.
It's not like you're going home with the Hooters waitress,
right? Okay.
Like, it's just not. That's just not happening. So what are you really paying for? And then you're like, I'm overpaying for bad food. I'm not doing that anymore. Goodbye.
The Hooters location in downtown Indianapolis will remain open. So if you still want those wings, you can still get them. Okay? There's another restaurant that, you know what, this has been out all week long, and we haven't mentioned it. We keep running out of time, so why not on a Friday? Gray Brothers Cafeteria in Mooresville, closing their doors on Sunday.
Yeah, they had initially said they were going to, sell the building, which is iconic, and they were going to try to move the restaurant somewhere else because they just had too much space. So we went because we thought it was closing down when they made that announcement, and then it stayed open for a while. And now I think they've come out and just said we can't keep the restaurant open as well, so we're just closing everything down altogether.
Yeah, the building, as you mentioned, was put up for sale in February and remains unsold at this point. They say they've had a lot of financial challenges, inflation, rising cost of food.
Oh, I told you.
Which we talk about a lot. Also changes in the food industry.
It was like $30 for two people when we went, and I don't feel like we got that much food. And you know me, Casey, I'm the most frugal man who ever lived. Paying $30 for something, it's like...
That's outrageous!
It's like, might as well just given me a, colonoscopy or something. It would have been less painful than having to pull out $30 bills.
They did express gratitude to the Mooresville community and their loyal customers.
It's an institution.
80 years, right?
Incredible memories as a kid.
Great pie.
Would meet my grandparents there, like
there.
coming from Terre Haute. They would meet them there, and you've been there, I assume.
I've spent more than $30 just on pie alone. It's like you get there, can't decide. One of each, please. And then eat it in the parking lot.
It is sad, though, that things like inflation and our government's unwillingness to get it together have made it so that institutions that have helped define communities or shape communities can't even stay in business anymore. It's certainly not a lack of business. It's just the government is so broken, and it is so sad. All right, you want to end the day on something uplifting?
I want to go out on a positive note because it's Friday. When is the next game? It's Sunday, isn't it?
Real quick before we do this, we may run just a little long. Landon, you'll figure it out. I just want to say thank you to our audience because you are what drives us. They could take us out of here tomorrow, and you would not disappear. You would still be out there. You would be driving whoever comes in this seat to continue the fight. You drive Tony to keep the fight. You drive Hammer and Nigel to keep the fight. You are the lifeblood of us, and we can't thank you enough for all that you do for us every single week.
So you've got the game Sunday, 8 o'clock. It's on ABC, Pacers in Oklahoma City again. And so let's just remind you of how good it felt last night.
Gilgeous Alexander has it, 9 to shoot. The defender is Nembhard. Here comes the left-hand bounce, penetrates the arc. Nembhard cuts him off, and he missed off the back of the rim. Rebound, Indiana. 8 seconds to go. The Pacers are not going to call a timeout. Halliburton has it with 3, driving with 2, pulling up, and hitting with 0.3 of a second to go. How many more times can this team do that?
Sweet baby.
Life can be full of risks. One thing is